this is different. This is magnificent, man. And I like this. I enjoyed myself to the fullest, and I can't wait to come back on.
And it's also wonderful to hear people talk sanely to each other.
You're doing something outside the box. And on top of that, entertaining people at the same time. And on top of that, educating people at the same time. You can't lose, bro.
You know, your future has no limits, Avi. You just keep doing what you're doing, my friend. You're going to be able to write your own ticket.
You have something amazing going with this show but you're there and you're educating us.
I mean, yes, pain is inevitable. I mean, there's a reason we have these sensors in our body. I mean, they're warning signs.
And the baby is facing me, and I look at the baby like, what a beautiful face you've got. And I'm just looking, and the baby smiles. That is, I think, 10 times more powerful.
And I would ask him to come with me back to early 2023 to save my son's life.
My father passed away. She's an only child. She didn't have any family. She asked me to walk her down the aisle. That's the part that changed.
It's just that cruel moment of when you realize there is no hope. That tears at me, but it doesn't tear at me anymore. Because there was hope. I hung on just long enough to come out the other side. And here I am. Look at me, all beautiful and stuff.
You're not going to be able to overcome at least what technology has created.
And they were rebuilding that country at a cost.
Because by working, Avi, you will keep yourself busy and get used to the grief.
Another trio of questions, now more underrated. We have Billy D. Williams, Italian men named Skippy, or unicycle.
I'm sorry, Italian men named Skippy. Put me away, Avi. That's
Archie Bunker, the mountain climber, Ralph Cramden, the yoga instructor, or Don Corleone, the computer repair person.
It's clearly an issue with the hard drive.
Don Corleone. And how about this? The word bed actually looks like a bed.
Then I visited the children, and I would say the adults were at least as enthused to see Santa.
Listen, I got a chance to get to know Joe Weeder. Joe was like a second father to me. He took me under his wing.
I had a blast. I want to dance with somebody.
There we go.
I'll do it.
I do too right now, guys and gals. And you know, real close, despite the fact, guys and gals, that in my opinion, Stevie's the winner regardless. But I'm not voting. We have more.
Tom, Don, I'm a true fan. Yo, I never watched all of your movies through, Tom, because they scared the crap out of me. Love y'all, man.
Great to meet you.
Avi, you did a great job.
John Amos.
Man, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. And God bless you.
Well, thank you very much. I can't think of a better way to begin the new year than with you.
Welcome, my friend, to the Second Round Reveal Show.
Avi, always great to hear your voice, kid, and to hear your intros. You're amazing.
Welcome this man, last name Davidson, first name Tommy.
Nice. I think that's the best intro I've ever had. Grab your mommy. Here's Tommy.
Did you have a nice time tonight in the green room?
I had a great time. I can't tell you how refreshing it is that somebody knows what they're doing.
Avi is a poet, but he doesn't know it, but his feet show it. You're unbelievable.
Winning it all, competitive juices, are they all there, Joe?
Man, the competitive juices don't stop.
I am here to destroy people, to win. Put up the rhymes that make things say that be so kind, and then hit you in the butt, because I'm ready to win this all. It's all about me going to Greece with my wife and my family and having a great time. Let's win this.
Oh, are you here to win the whole darn tournament?
I don't play. I just win.
You're chomping at the bit to get in this thing.
Oh yeah, man. I've been telling you, brother. You brought up some names to me, and I was like, I can't wait. I hope they don't see me, because it's going to be on like a steaming pot of neck bones, baby, and I'm not playing.
Mike, I got to ask you the golden question. Are you here to win the entire thing, my friend?
I'll just say this, Avi. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
But are you here to win the entire celebrity tournament when it's all said and done?
I saw a very familiar face in Mike Rotundo.
better known as IRS, and he said that he was here for the winner chicken dinner, and I want to take away that chicken dinner. So yes, I want to win this whole shebang.
First name Joe Smith. Welcome, my friend.
Oh my God, Avi. Where did you get all of that from? Oh my God.
What's going on, everyone? So tonight it comes down to a Major League Baseball star, a TV icon, and a legend in the world of professional wrestling. I think tonight, it all comes down to wisdom and experience. So I think Gerald Brisco's gonna take it all the way. That's Rock Richard's predictions. Peace and love, guys. Have a great night and enjoy all the entertainment.
Hello again, guys. Another week of predictions. This is your boy Stevie Ray, and I'm here for the TKN Celebrity Grand Tournament. Now, my predictions today. We have 3 combatants. We have Bryse Wilson, Major League pitcher extraordinaire, very young guy, 27 years of age, but he's out there in the Major Leagues doing his things. And y'all know the pitchers, the baseball players in general have been doing very good in this tournament. So I expect good things from him. Also, my man, Mr. Gerald Brisco, who was a big inspiration to myself in the world of professional wrestling. He and his brother Jack, you all know, were champions on many levels. I saw him in the Sam Houston Coliseum when I was a kid many times. Enjoyed every minute of what he did. So you all know he's going to bring it. But last but not least, Mr. Todd Bridges. Mr. Todd Bridges, we all know him from television, movies, the whole thing. I even remember Todd Bridges when he was a little kid on Little House on the Prairie. And he asked Mr. Walton to adopt him. Mr. Walton said no. But today, no adoptions. You in it, you gotta win it. That's what it's about. TKN, Celebrity Grand Tournament, Todd. But my predictions are, I think Gerald Brisco will move forward. And then we got Bryse, and then we got Todd. Todd, I think you'll move forward. That's the predictions today from your boy, Stevie Ray. Peace.
There are those of us who like to venture to the unexplored, to see the beauty in the strange and unknown. Those of us who go out there with a sense of wonder. It's the magic of risking everything for a dream that nobody sees but you.
Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the shadow of the shade. Yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me, unafraid. God. It matters not how strait the gate, how punishment charges the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. Their feathers are just too bright. And when they fly away, The part of you that knows it was a sin to lock them up does rejoice. Let me tell you about a voice. The one that whispers. It tells me what's right and what's not, when to leave and where to go. It's not Shakespeare. It does not speak in memorable lines. My inner voice always gives it to me straight. Tells me who my real friends are, when to say yes, when to say no. Whether the person sitting next to me is the one I'll be spending the rest of my life with.
You already know that dedication, hard work, and perseverance gives positive results.
Let your instincts guide you.
Your 15 minutes are up. You better start thinking of something else. What else to do? What do I want to do? I was picked a day that I was going to go to the Taxi and Limousine Commission to try and get my license. And the day before I decided to go, I got a call from my agent. Paul Newman is casting, wants to see you. Getting a job is like having money in your pocket. If you got it, you can get it. Strangely enough, so this was in September. By October, I had a TV job, an off-Broadway show. I was directing a play, and I was going to be in January going to do this movie. It was called Harry and Sons. Go figure. What would you do if you weren't an actor? If you didn't make it as an actor, what would you do? I have no idea. I would act somewhere, because I'll die if I don't.
the Basketball Hall of Fame and one of the NBA's top 50 players. And I'm really excited to tell you about my new relationship in the broadcasting world with the new network.
It's TKN, and a young man named Avi Klein has poured his blood, sweat, and tears into creating this new network and assembling an amazing group of individuals to co-host shows with him throughout the network, covering everything you can imagine. He's assembled artists, authors, film entertainers,
legends from every walk of life who are just bringing their knowledge and their experience and their wisdom, and this is amazing. Like in a day and age when our airwaves are just completely oversaturated with false narratives, with social media futility, with craziness, Avi just is I feel like this is a cosmic convergence of what is most important to him, and he's such a stand-up guy.
Here, but with a very warm heart for Avi and thanking him for all the work he's put into creating the new network. For me, I have just a teeny part of this in terms of having a program that's based on storytelling, where I get to share some of my stories with you.
I can't even imagine how hard Avi Klein works. He tells me he gets 4 hours of sleep a day, and I actually believe that, because Avi is so passionate, he works so hard,
and tune into Avi's network, because there's a lot of jewels that we're going to uncover.
There is nothing that was on TV tonight that even remotely rivals what we did on this broadcast.
And I really thank your support. I lost my father, and you were the first person to support me and all that, and I thank you so much for that.
I am so grateful for our friendship, and you know what? You appreciate things in people that make such a difference. You make each of us feel like we're more than we know how to even thank you. Anyway.
It's very respectful, and he really connects with the artists and his audiences, and I felt like this guy's on to something, and I'm proud to be a part of this with him.
Avi, congratulations. I don't know anybody that can talk as much as you. Seriously, I thought I could talk. You are unreal. But you do it with class, understanding, professionalism. You're simply amazing. I told you that when I first met you, and you ran off my autobiography. It basically was a book. It was simply fantastic. And to think that you do that every show.
The greatest wealth is when you can share it with someone. You can share your victories, you can share your failure, you can express your deepest feelings, but the greatest wealth is to be able to say that I have a friend, and I feel an unbelievable level of wealth, and a lot of that is because I have somebody like you.
I don't take this man for granted as a friend. I don't take him for granted as a brother, and I will say that because who knows what tomorrow brings. And I appreciate you for who you are, Del, wholeheartedly. The floor is yours, solo.
Well, thank you, Avi. I appreciate that, and the feeling's mutual. I appreciate you for who you are.
I just think it's going to be, a lot of fun for people. I don't think people, there's nothing like this on the air. I don't think really. No, there isn't. I just think it's going to be I'm very interested in how people respond to it. Because I know it's going to be interesting and see if people tune in and stay tuned in, and I really hope they do. And I'm all yours, bro. Let's go out and make this work. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Thank you for being you, my friend. I appreciate you and respect you wholeheartedly.
And that goes double for me to you, Avi.
Guys and gals and pals, it is Saturday night, round number 2. And yes, what a matchup we have for you tonight. Industrial-sized air conditioners at your favorite B&B in Alaska would be rendered obsolete after witnessing that intro because we're all fired up. That much is a fact. You've all experienced luminary after luminary enter this virtual arena. Indeed, this tournament is quite stacked. I dubbed this vision of mine edutainment because I place emphasis on entertainment and education. Because on this station, we celebrate those that are passionate about their vocation. And this format is anything but the same old, so I thank you for embracing this innovation and expressing your constant elation when taking in the most star-studded tournament of them all. A place where competitors convey their level of admiration while we marvel at the information, passion, and perspiration when observing this wide array of talent that make up this population of strong-minded thinkers that enlighten us. Which is why I subscribe to conversation, because listening and applying is how we get to our destination. We're all so much closer than we are apart, which is why this show offers a demonstration of what's right about us as a society. So for the viewers out there who have a fascination, sit back and enjoy as I put a cap on this verbal dissertation. Let's keep doing what we do and realize that our motto isn't some Sherlock Holmes mystery. A legendary director of Superman fame, my mentor, told me years ago, write your own history. Teaching history and screenwriting, that was one thing. But sharing your history is an honor. That mentor who lives in my heart daily, his name was Richard Donner. So let's sit back and realize what we've witnessed here in this tournament. Oh, so grand. Where as of tonight, 131 Hall of Famers and award winners from Hollywood and nominees own this land as we discover and rediscover our humanity through open dialogue and expand. So be prepared to give a hand to competitors that are about to work their sweat gland. All the while, our attention they command. With $15,000 in a 5-day and 5-night trip to Greece on the line, one can't forget about the pride and the prize. So with that, let's all rise and reprise our roles as educational voyeurs that never chastise or agonize, but rather revel in our beautiful reality without needing a disguise. Here on this network where we're allergic to lies. The bard Shakespeare once said, "It is not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves." So if you love something, don't hate others that do, because doing is the sweet nectar that is most rewarding. Take a moment to breathe. Admire your desire to aspire, because if you don't, life will be but a blur. Of this I'm sure. So never hate the flower for starting out as a seed. Long distance running is essential. This isn't a stampede, so don't run anyone over on your way to the top. Focus on yourself and never forget to cheerlead. Root for your loved ones and lift people up. This human fortune cookie hopes that we've all agreed that positivity is something we can never concede. Guys, a genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a genuine leader is a molder of consensus. We might sail within a vast sphere, ever drifting in uncertainty, but always driven from end to end.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. So the question that we got to ask ourselves is what success is to us, what success is to you. Is it more money? That's fine. I got nothing against money. Maybe it's a healthy family. Maybe it's a happy marriage. Maybe it's to help others, to be famous, to be brave, take the hill, but first answer that question, what's my hill? So first, we have to define success for ourselves. And then we have to put in the work to maintain it. Take that daily tally. Tend our garden. Keep the things that are important to us in good shape. Where you are not is as important as where you are. It is just as important where we are not as it is where we are. Let's create more outcomes that pay us back, fill us up, keep your fire lit, turn you on.
Where you are, whether it's with your family, friends, whoever it may be, just being content in the spot that you're in right now, and content and happy and proud of what you're able to do and what you're doing right now is something that really resonates with me. I watched my brother struggle a little bit, through college because of all the injuries he had, and just, he helped me out a lot just because, and he's my younger brother. So it's funny how that works. He helped me out a lot just because he would wake up every day, he'd have these injuries, and he would wake up and he would keep going.
You know, sometimes when you spot a person and it takes 2 seconds to like him, that's Bryse Wilson. You could tell he's a real genuine guy, guys and gals and pals. And I'm about to bring him in. Star-studded field. Where else, guys and gals? If I'm going to be braggadocious about one thing, it's about you. You, our audience. You're intelligent. You guys leave comments that are so thought-provoking. We appreciate that because, again, if you want controversy, go elsewhere. We have conversation over controversy. That doesn't mean we don't want to roll up our sleeves. We don't want to, it doesn't mean we're going to avoid tackling the hard-hitting topics. It doesn't mean that we're not going to question each other to bring the best out of each other, but it's a place where respect is unconditional across the board. But at the end of the day, one person, one out of 150 plus from round 1 or round 2 to round 6 at the end is going to win this thing, and I cannot wait. It could be Mr. Bryse Wilson. Guys and gals and pals, as I bring him in right now, our first participant is driven and is currently playing in the MLB as a standout pitcher, but his love for all things family and his straightforward approach to life is refreshing indeed. He was born in Durham, North Carolina, to parents Tracy and Chad. Soon he would excel in sports, and of course we're glad, but it isn't easy living on the road like some nomad. Traveling up and down the highways every day can make Tampa seem like Stalingrad. It can all become a blur, but his passion for the game watched him blossom from amateur to a pro, yet he's down to earth and isn't about the bling or relying on some chauffeur. His father was a truck driver for Cisco Foods, and his mom served the Blue Cross Blue Shield for 2 decades, something that I applaud a lot. His father joined the Army Reserves, and after 4 years, he and Tracy tied the knot. Their son, our first participant, was a Braves fan growing up, as they were the hometown team. Growing up, there's always a theme, but even though he slept at night, he didn't merely dream. He worked hard at becoming successfully supreme. His dad built a batting cage in the front yard and made a concrete pad for a basketball court. As an athlete, he would never fail or fall short. He excelled in many a sport. Case in point, Hillsborough when he attended Orange High. He played both baseball and football, and his skill set was something that you could not deny. Whether it was the diamond or the gridiron, his opponents would look on in fear. How could one not? As a senior, he was named the News and Observer's High School Athlete of the Year. That year, Wilson pitched to a 10-2 record with 6 shutouts and 3 no-hitters. That's pretty scary, like the feeding frenzy that took place in the original Critters. He pitched a perfect game in the 3A playoffs, and in his high school career, he won 33 games and lost only 4. His talents and work ethic many would adore. Take his old high school coach, Pat Moser. Listen to what he said. I implore. He said he's probably the best football player he's coached. I'm sure he would have clamored for an encore. Billy Best, the Brave scout in North Carolina for nearly 2 decades, said he's the second best pitcher he has seen in the area. This isn't difficult to see considering the fact that he leaves his fans in a state of hysteria. His game is so sweet, it can heal. It can serve as an elixir of sorts. Move over malaria. Another scout, the Athletics' Neil Avent, nicknamed him John Wayne for his stoic demeanor and sheer dominance. Just watch his game. No need for documents to make sense out of the fact that he's entered a state of prominence. Don't lose him. That's what John Hart, the Braves' former president of basketball operations, said on the day of the 2016 draft. This isn't a surprise, as he's a master at his craft. He told the team's former scouting director, Todd Bridges, to make sure Wilson becomes a Brave. There were plenty of reasons to rant and rave for what he gave as he became the 3rd youngest pitcher in Major League history. Ready, guys and gals, all in unison to do the wave? With a postseason outing of 6+ innings and 1 or 0 hits, no wonder he's a fan fave. As a member of the Pirates, he fired a career-high 8 shutout innings and collected 6 strikeouts. Opponents trembled as the crowd assembled amidst the passionate and primal screams and shouts. His impacts on the game is reminiscent of all 80s Mike Tyson bouts. He's currently a Milwaukee Brewer, and I'll be bringing him in as quick as you can count. Once, twice, thrice. Take my advice. Whether it's a laptop or phone, gaze into your device. Call all your friends. Heck, knock on their doors and be precise with the speed of a determined Jerry Rice and put your hands together for a humble, down-to-earth human being. Last name Wilson. First name Bryse. Bryse Wilson, welcome to round 2 of the Celebrity Tournament, good sir.
Thank you, Avi. I really appreciate that. You never disappoint. That was unbelievable. And I'm so happy to be here.
Right on, man. I'm glad you're here, my friend. I'm really happy that you're here. Round 1, Mickey James, Bryant McKinney, and Bryse Wilson. You moved on along with Mickey James to round number 2 of this Celebrity Tournament. Bryse, again, you're a down-to-earth human being. If anyone knows competition, it's you. You worked your way up. You clawed your way up. You're in the majors. You're doing so amazingly well. The Brewers just had an amazing run thanks to you and your teammates and the coaching staff and everybody involved. How important is it to win this Celebrity Tournament, my friend?
Oh, man. Anything competitive-wise for me is just I'm here to win. I love being on the show. It obviously I want to win, but there's a lot that it does for just everybody watching, and I just really appreciate you for putting it all together and making it happen.
I appreciate you for being here. You become a fast friend. And again, 15 grand on the line, trip for 2 to Greece. That's pretty cool. But at the end of the day, I love the fact that we walk in as strangers, we leave as friends. And I know it sounds sappy, but I'd rather be sappy than cynical these days. But it's great to know that we can gain a certain amount of knowledge from others. Luminaries like Gerald Brisco and Todd Bridges, who've done so much in their lives and helping by giving it back and paying it forward. You do the same. So I love the fact that we're going to spend some time here, get to know one another. But again, at the end of the day, pride in the prize. I know you're here to win, my friend. I'll put you backstage for a moment and bring in Todd.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Guys and gals, Bryse Wilson, again, stand-up guy, down-to-earth human being, a competitor, a great athlete. He's here. He's here to win. Guys and gals and pals, ask for our next competitor. With zero doubt and dismay, we're always smitten. His knowledge and gifts are the best books that have been written. He reminds us that the best race hasn't been run. The best score hasn't been made yet. The best song hasn't been sung. Cheer up, for the world is young. He reminds us that the world is just eager for things that we ought to create. Our story of true wealth is still meager. The best house can be planned, and the mightiest river might be spanned. His heart greets the masses oh so pleasantly. He reminds us that hardships often prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destiny.
It really doesn't matter the condition of your birth. What matters is what you inherit from your nurturing, from your environment, whether or not you're going, I'm just from the standpoint of having been born with little. You can hear.
I live a life of make-believe. And beyond a life of make-believe, there has to be a life of reality. And you and the sea, that is the ultimate reality, Once I got a job on the stage, my first job, I got press. Good press. You don't need much if this is what you really, really want to do. You don't need much in the way of reassurance. And for the New York press to say, wow, that's it. You're off and running. And just feel like, okay, I can do this. I can make this work.
Here's the other thing. It's not really in the inner cities where most of these sports teams get the players from.
I just know that the kids are different than we were. They're completely different than we were. They're not like we were anymore. Yes. They're smarter. They're better. They're smarter and better. They want social change. They want climate change. They want things that we didn't even care about growing up.
The problem is the media and people that they're only seeing the outside surface. That's all they're seeing. They're not seeing what's really going on in someone's home, what's really going on with him being on the street.
I echo what Todd says. I left behind a career as an educator when I started working for one of the biggest studio systems on God's green earth, and I did that because they wanted to let me teach the real history. I could not teach about the Buffalo Soldiers. I could not teach about the Revolutionary War the way I wanted to. We were handcuffed. And what Todd brought up about society, that's what we do here, guys and gals. We do this as much as we can. We prove that we can marry the two words, entertainment and education. We could do them both here, and you guys are letting us know by being receptive to it that this is the place to be. Sometimes people get the wrong view about the right side of humanity, not over here. I've got to know Todd. And you know what, guys? Todd is a good friend. He's become a dear friend. He's also a very smart, very passionate human being, a very diverse human being. And guys and gals, he is one of the favorites, according to you, to win the whole thing. And I see why. Todd Bridges, guys and gals, is salt of the earth, but the man speaks his mind, and you got to respect him for being just that, an honest human being that does not care or cower. His Jekyll doesn't hide. The second competitor is a man, guys and gals, that has helped others with his incredible insight. His words of encouragement come from a place of experience and can assist you regardless of your plight. We have fun and talk about everything under the sun on our one-of-a-kind show. Our conversation will move along virtually, guys and gals. You've already seen our flow. He has a warm heart and a smile and helps others. Those less fortunate, he will never neglect. He's also knowledgeable about a vast array of topics, someone who can win it all. The man is experienced. No novices here. He doesn't have a rookie wall. He'll offer his insight, and his priorities are always straight. Defeating all comers in this tournament, will that be this man's fate? It's obvious he's ready to go, but first, a confession. This match will offer it all from top to bottom. There is no question. This man stands for something beyond his God-given talent. He's here to educate. Figured out who I'm speaking of? Don't give it away. Just wait. You won't have to wait much longer, guys and gals, because soon he's going to hit you like a roundhouse from Jean-Claude. So welcome in a positive and uplifting man. Last name Bridges. First name Todd. Todd Bridges, welcome to round 2 of the Celebrity Tournament, my friend.
You're hilarious, man. I love that, man. Come through. That's coming through. I'm here to box it around. I'm trying to win something. Got to get this going. I'm ready to fight it out. I can see. I know today I've got some, good people I'm going against. I got some champions that I'm going against. So I gotta, go on and put my championship belt on and get ready to fight it out.
Oh, my friend, man. I love you to death. You're as real comes, and as we both know in this industry, that's rare. So when you meet someone like that, you hang on to that. You're awesome and you're authentic, but you also know sports, and you're a competitive person by nature. So am I. Todd, it's supposed to get tougher each round, right? So as we move further, the 2 winners tonight out of 3 will move on to the halfway mark of this tournament. So do you expect and want the competition to be fiercer and tougher?
Oh, yeah, I know it's going to be fierce and tougher. It's not going to be easy. None of us is going to have an easy route. This is going to be, a battle. It's a battle to see who can move forward. That's what it's really all about. And I'm here to play. I'm here to play.
You once told me that even though it's great that we share stories, we learn about each other, it is essentially a sport, right? This is a sport.
Oh, yeah.
You told me that once, yeah.
This is an intellectual sport, a sport where you got to use your mind and your brain and your heart and find the right words to say this so that it makes sense, but also people have great understanding of it. And it shows, how far that you've come as a person and where you are today.
That's really well put. Really well put. And I think that's why you resonate with people, because real knows real, game knows game. Todd, at the end of the day, 15 grand trip for 2 to Greece. Are you still passionate about that prize, my friend?
Yes, I'm ready to win, man. Go to Greece? Yeah, me and my wife can go to Greece. We can have a good time. Leave the kids at home. There you go. We're on our way. And Greece, Italy is the city of love.
yes, that is true. Guys and gals, hop, skip, and jumping away maybe from Mr. Todd Bridges. I'll put you back for a second momentarily, my friend.
Okay.
Guys, the great Todd Bridges is a great human being, obviously a great talent, and as real comes. And you know what? The next person I'm going to bring in, our third participant tonight, has become a fast friend over the years, over time, because of his mutual respect for people and meeting them halfway, eye to eye, level. There's always a level playing field with him, which I love. He doesn't look down at you no matter who you are. And one thing I like about him is that he has every right. If he chose to be pompous, he could, but he's not. That's what I like about this guy, because he's excelled at the highest level possible, no matter what his aspirations, plural, not singular, were. He's attained greatness in a way that much of us will probably never experience in our lives, but he's also retained his humanity. And I like that. I think that's very important. Guys, the aim of life is to live, and to live means to be aware, joyously, drunkenly, serenely, divinely aware. If life is a song, sing it. If life is a game, play it. If life is a challenge, meet it. If life is a dream, realize it. If life is a sacrifice, offer it. And if life is love, enjoy it. The latter rings true when beginning to describe my next guest. His ambition, coupled with limitless talent, has been on full display for the masses to observe. His work epitomizes the unselfish collaboration, as he's created such great harmony with fellow colleagues. He's a remarkable and fascinating human being with layers of depth, going several orders of magnitude deep. And he has shared that intimate understanding of the self with a public audience. Guys and gals, to get to know him is to appreciate him.
I am good Buffalo Eagle. Hear my words. The Creator gave all two-legged beings a sacred gift. We call this the gift of choice. Regardless of where we are born, all come to earth with this gift. Along with this gift of choice, all two-legged beings have a sense of knowing right from wrong, from the one who stands within. Therefore, the gift of choice allows us to choose knowingly. My Pauline, the woman of my heart, states that in her Navajo language, life is a walking, a journey. So if life upon Mother Earth is a journey, there are 2 ways to walk.
that he had conquered the West. He had settled the West. It's safe for you now to take your wagon trains out and rape and pillage all the natives out there that are still out there and steal their land. The Grand Ole Opry fired him because he wouldn't go along with today's country music. He said, that's not country music to me. Country music is drinking, getting drunk, pick up trucks, outlaws, mama, all that good stuff, going to jail, going to prison. Willie Nelson did all that stuff. They copied so much of their material from the scenes of the Honeymooners, all the iconic deals. And you look back in 1955, the top 5 TV shows on the air was the Honeymooners.
Guys, he's a walking encyclopedia. I trust me when I tell you that. There's so much this, he's not going to admit that because he's humble, but there's so much this man knows about so many things. And one thing I really wanted to do, you saw the great Ken Patera. You saw the great Fred Ottman. You see Gerald Brisco, guys. When I started working for the studio system, I told a lot of the writers who look down at pro wrestling that they're looking down at some of the smartest, most talented, strongest human beings that have so many layers they can peel back if you get to know them. And that's really what my motivating force was when it came to invite a lot of the luminaries from the pro wrestling world into this tournament, because guys and gals and pals, they are well-read, they are studious, they are passionate, and you know what? They do it live. So guys and gals, Gerald Brisco, one of the greatest, Mount Rushmore in his field, there's no doubt about that. Let's give them respect without question. And you know what, guys? At the end of the day, you know, when this country doesn't have a political enemy, it usually turns on itself, right? We don't need to do that over here, but what we are going to do is, in the spirit of competition, we're going to compete and show you how it's done. And still, at the end of the day, proverbial handshake across the board. That's what it's all about. Guys and gals and pals, I'm going to zip the old lip right now and bring in a legend. The third competitor tonight is a bona fide legend of a human being and talent, not to mention a Hall of Famer. It's going to be unpredictable, wild, and hot, guys and gals. Consider that my very disclaimer. So with that, let me bring in a man that is versatile. He's a class act, but has no problem competing in conditions that are hostile. He's a Hall of Famer and a man that excels in anything he's pursued. That is a fact. He's passionate, expressive, and knowledgeable. The man also has tact. One of the all-time greats and a friend that can win this entire thing. He's ready for me to end these rhymes so we can hear that bell as it goes ding, ding. I will do just that. Let's welcome in a man that is an absolute pro, a Hall of Famer, champion, and one of the favorites to win this whole thing. First name Gerald, last name Brisco. Welcome to round 2 of the tournament, my friend.
Thank you so much, Avi. Thank you for the wonderful words, and I'm so blessed to be here. Thank you very much for having me on. Now, I just want to start this thing with one little word. Recently, I read a book on Mother Teresa.
Yes.
And one of the quotes that that stood with me in that book, that entire reading that I did there, she was honored with the Nobel Peace Prize, as you know, and she was up there, and they were interviewing her. And what advice do you have for the other people out here listening that would like to follow your footsteps? Her simple words were, find your own Calcutta, which means, Avi, go out. You don't have to go to India. You don't have to go to Calcutta to do good. You can do good in your backyard. You can do good in your neighborhood. And I've taken those words and I've tried all my life, thanks to my mother upbringing, that I follow those words. I've tried to find my own Calcutta. And one of those Calcuttas being, as you see here, Chickasaw Nation wrestling camps. Every year I go out to Oklahoma, my home state, and I put on a free clinic. I bring guys in I bring Olympians in, I bring national champions in, I bring All-Americans in, I bring Mark Henry in, I bring JBL in, all these stars that come in to influence these young men and women, to show them that they have an opportunity if they just pursue it. Find your own Calcutta. I found mine, and you know what? I'm going to find it again tonight.
Oh, gosh, I love that. And it gives me goosebumps because I've been tracking so many of the things that you've done because, again, we communicate, of course, off this great virtual arena that we're in now all the time. And you do give back, but you give back because I think, I don't want to have to quote you on this, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think as glorious as your career is, as extensive as your resume is, there's probably nothing that makes you feel as good as giving back to the people.
Nothing. There's nothing out there that makes you feel, that gives you that tingle in the body. I mean, just like the two young men sitting here with me tonight going to debate me. They have won their accolades. Bryce, a great baseball player, great football player. Todd, great actor on the big screen and on the little screen too. People don't realize how hard that is to be both. I mean, usually you pigeonhole yourself into one, but to do both and to be as versatile as Todd is, I wasn't nervous when I got to come on here, but after seeing the videos of these two men, all of a sudden my body tightened up. That competition level picks up, and I'm ready to rumble.
I love that, my friend. I'll ask you the same question again. I know our viewers like to see this, and guys and gals, you know me. I'm respectful but blunt and direct. I don't mince words. For that studio out there that didn't believe in us right now, all I can say is, all of a sudden now they're calling us every day. They're making their own predictions as well. Gerald's one of their favorites. Gerald winning this whole thing, 15 grand, going to Greece, the pride of it all. What do you have to say about all of that, my friend?
Well, as I told you before, going to Greece is one of I've been fortunate. I've traveled the entire world. I mean, through my business, there's very few places that I have not been. Greece is one of those places.
Yes.
As you know, I studied in my library back there. I studied the Grecian gods. I studied all about Mount Olympus, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I want to go firsthand, and I want to get those goosebumps when I walk in there. This is where the Olympics were founded. This is where all competition began here. I want to get that vibe. I want to find that. I want to feel what it feels like to stand on that starting line. A few years back, I went to Germany. I sat in Hitler's seat, but you know what? I did the festival. I stood where Jesse Owens won his gold medal.
Wow.
And you talk about goosebumps. I actually got goosebumps standing where Jesse Owens.
That
So
is
I intend to take advantage of this.
God almighty, absolutely. I love that. Really quick, went to, of course, Stalingrad became St. Petersburg, went out there once, and that was just to take in some of these sites that you're mentioning. I think to our younger audience and generation, if you have a chance to explore and see parts of the world you never have or never thought you would, do it. There's no doubt about that. It's very, very important for us to remain very aware of all the cultures and their history too. I'm going to bring in Gerald Brisco. I'm going to bring in Bryse Wilson and Todd Bridges, guys. All three incredible men and competitors. This Mrs. Todd Bridges, Mr. Todd Bridges, Mr. Bryse Wilson. Hey. Welcome, guys.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Hey, yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I got to tell you, I'm really pumped up myself. I got to ask a question before we start topic number one. I know the answer. I want our audience to hear it, of course. It doesn't matter who it might be. Todd, if it's a Mark Henry who's one of the favorites that you might have to face. Gerald, if it's a JBL in the finals. Bryce, it could be someone that you know well in this tournament, a David Justice perhaps. It doesn't matter who you guys might have to face in this tournament. The objective is to win. Am I right?
Yeah,
absolutely. For sure.
Competition.
Gerald, we gotta watch Bryce. He's gonna try to throw us a fastball. You gotta watch him.
So many people
try to give us one.
That fastball, but that curveball is one that you gotta watch, man. That curve. You think you got it. Just when you think you got it, man, it just veers off.
Oh yeah, I play men's and done baseball. Trust me, I know. Chuck Krim came in our league and he killed me like that.
I'll tell you
fastball, But I'm ready for you. I got my bat lined up for you tonight, Bryce. I'm ready to swing a little bit.
Guys.
Sounds good.
Bryce, remember, nicknamed John Wayne. He's ready to go. Mr. Gerald Brisco, of course, guys and gals. Nothing to be said other than the obvious. This man is a bona fide legend. All three are here to win. All three are absolutely great at their chosen craft or crafts and professions and vocations. But now, topic number one, which I will introduce, and I will kick topic one to Todd Bridges first. Of course, guys and gals, it'll be Todd Bridges first, Bryce second, and Gerald third for this first topic. So in order, it'll be Todd, Bryce, Gerald. So let me just make sure I kind of queued up here like this. There we go, in that order. Now, what happens when Todd speaks at any point, if Gerald or Bryce want to rebut Todd, which does help their argument as well, and of course to garner votes, that's part of the game. If they want to rebut Todd, all they have to do is lift their index finger up. I'll pop in from the backstage area, make it official, and they can rebut as well. So that could happen, not mandatory. Guys and gals and pals who are watching right now, again, thank you for watching and growing this channel to what it's become already. Thank you again. Topic number one, guys and gals and pals, is very important to get into. I call it head versus heart, the great debate, because the heart versus the head continues to be one of the great debates in the world of leaders and also leadership development. Some say that there are times when it's better to lead with your heart and other times when it's better to lead with your head. For example, the heart might push someone to take a leap of faith, but the mind might question the risks. So I'm going to kick this off first to Mr. Todd Bridges. Todd, can you please make a case for both ideologies by providing an example for each? Please discuss a time in your life where you are relieved to know that you led with your heart over your head. And when finished, if you can also provide an example in your life where you were relieved to know that you led with your head over your heart, You can take as much time as you want. Are you ready to go, my friend?
Yeah, I am.
Floor is yours.
Well, actually, it's a month and a half ago. My mom passed away, and my head wanted to keep her around. My mom spent a month and a half going through agony with different sicknesses. 4 brain tumors. She lost her leg, to vascular disease, and I knew it was time to let her go. I talked to my brother and sister, and we all agreed that we should, tell her if she needs to go home, she needs to go. My head didn't want to do it. And to me, that was being very, very selfish. My heart knew what was right, but my head wanted her to stay around because I like to have my mom around, being able to talk to her, and getting wisdom for her. My mom, for me, was my everything. She saved my life. I'm 31 years sober because of my mom. She was a trooper with me. She didn't give up. She never gave in. She never gave up on me. And when all odds were down and people were telling her to leave me alone, let me do what I need to do, my mom said, no, I know what my son is, and I'm not going to give up on her. And she saved my life. And for me to let her go and tell her to go ahead and go was probably the toughest thing that I ever had to do. My mind didn't want to do it. My brain did not want to tell her that because I was being selfish. I know that. But my heart knew that someone going through that much pain deserves to move forward. And, the interesting part about it was when I told my mom that very day, I told her, if you want to go see your mom, if you want to go see your grandmother, your brothers, go ahead and go, Mom. Me and Jimmy and Berto, want you to go. We want you to be able to be happy and move forward. And she came back to our house for hospice for a day and a half, and she went. And it hit me really, really hard, the emotional pain from that, because my heart was right. My brain did not want to face the facts. It's taken me a while emotionally to get through that, and, there's been other times in my life also where, I knew that I was doing something wrong. My heart was telling me not to do it. My brain wanted that satisfaction, of doing what I want to do. But I've always found out, for me, my brain has always led me in the wrong direction. When I lead with my heart, and I call leading with my heart through God and Christ, when I lead with that, when God speaks to my heart always ends up doing the right thing. When the devil tricks me in my brain and tells me, oh, you can do this or you don't need to do that, don't listen to them, I end up making mistakes because my brain can be selfish. My brain's not thinking about the overall picture. But I feel that my heart is, I was raised the right way. My heart is always thinking in the positive direction and not the wrong direction. I've learned that. So I really believe that for me, the heart leads us the right way. And most of the time, our brain will lead us astray. Now, on the other side of it, sometimes there is a logical sense that our brain wants us to listen to or wants us to do something. But for me, I've still always found that the heart always leads me better than my brain. When I listen to my brain, there's always a repercussion. When I listen to my heart, there's always a smooth flow. And for me, no repercussion.
I want to publicly say here, man, we've communicated since then, but I'm so sorry for your loss. I really am, Todd. Yeah, I have a video later on. I'll definitely play it for you because I know, again, gosh, to lose a parent, yeah, it's, and you know what? I got to say this too. I know this might come across as sappy, but the fact that you're able to really kind of teach us about who she was as a human being, like that's her lasting legacy, because we know her name now. Yeah. And through your stories and recollections of who she was as a human being, that keeps her spirit alive. And I want to thank you for that, brother, because again, at the end of the day, much of who we are is because of our parents.
Yeah, my mom was a very honest person. My mom was the most, my wife is the same way. My wife is so honest. It drives me crazy.
Right.
My brain will lead me astray, but my wife is so honest. They know how to shift me back over to, to do the right thing,
Sure. There's no doubt about that. Guys and gals, please let's thank Todd for, again, sharing his heart and soul with us. Right now, it's the same question that I will ask to Mr. Bryse Wilson and then Mr. Gerald Brisco. Of course, rebutting is optional if that's the case. Index finger goes up, I'll pop in. Bryce, can you please make a case for both ideologies by providing an example of each, which is, again, discussing a time in your life where you're relieved to know that you led with your heart over your head, and then when you're finished, providing an example in your life where you're relieved to know that you led with your head over your heart. Are you ready to go, good sir?
Yes, I am.
Floor is yours.
This is a topic that it's obviously I think it varies person to person. I think for me personally, I'm going to agree with Todd here. I feel like so my role currently in baseball as a reliever is, I guess you could characterize as a Swiss Army knife. I take a lot of pride in it because I can save the bullpen, I can save starters, I can help the team in any way possible, and I take a ton of pride in it. And that's me leading with my heart. That's what I want to do. That's the way that I was raised, by my parents. And I want to be available as often as possible and throw whenever I need to throw. I think one specific, life experience for me is, I talked about my brother in, the first round that I was on here. And I think a lot of, he's doing very well where he's at now with the Steelers, but he struggled so much throughout college with injuries, and the talent that he had and the amount that he worked, it was awful to watch, as an older brother, because it was just like, this kid works and he works and he works. And then it's just, everything's just taken away from him, through injuries, and very serious injuries at that. And I remember, he had just come off of double shoulder surgery, and he called me the next season after the first game where, he felt something in his shoulder again, and he didn't know if he wanted to continue to play. And, I talked to him, and I think, my heart led me to tell him that, God puts you in certain situations, right? He tests you. He puts you through your trials and tribulations. God did not give him his talent and his work ethic for no reason, right? God putting him through all of these trials and tribulations through his injuries is what allowed him to come out on the other side, get drafted. He had, one of the better seasons in college football that a defensive player's had. And, for him to be able to do that, he had to stick with it. And I think that I'm not taking credit for any of that, but a lot of, when he called me and he was, ready to hang it up, he was tired mentally of battling back from injuries and whatnot. I told him, I was like, look, you just have to continue to move forward through whatever God puts in your way. And at the end of the day, he's going to reward you. And you have to be a testament. I think a lot of what I've learned, playing is, if you can reach to one person and make a positive impact to one person that's, watching my game, or to one person that's watching his game, or, whatever it may be, if you can positively impact one person in that crowd, or one person that's watching the game on TV, then you've done your job for that day. You've used your platform to really help somebody. You never know what that one person in the crowd may be going through in their life. And, for me, that's why I've always really, really believed in leading with my heart, because it always leads me in the right direction. It's always something that, when I lead with my heart, we talk about in baseball, throwing each pitch with intent and throwing it with conviction. When I lead with my heart in everything that I do in life, I feel like I'm doing it with intent. I'm doing it with intention. And I think, for me personally, and, Todd, I think I'm just saying the same thing that you just said. Sometimes when I lead with my head and I want to get that, immediate satisfaction or whatever it may be, that's when I can be led astray. But for me, leading with my heart is what truly, I feel like, makes the biggest impact to people that are, watching either my game or watching my career or whatever it may be.
Appreciate you sharing that. And again, what I found interesting was you mentioned that, you're very humble. You're the older brother, and yet you always pay homage to your younger brother for helping you in times of need as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that spoke to me, because you just generally don't hear that a lot. There's a narrative usually, it's the eldest brother. And the fact that you're able to kind of break a lot of barriers through the respect you have for your fellow man and woman.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring something up and ask you if the following ideology is something you subscribe to, Bryce. I had the fortune of being one of 12 writers to write for Carl Reiner about 5 years before he passed. And that's Rob Reiner's dad. And, obviously a legend. And, people are people. But at the end of the day, you respect him for what he did, an absolute legend. I remember seeing a writer complain to Carl about this, that, and the other. It was a coffee break. He's talking about his wife. He's talking about his life. He's talking about, and he didn't have one solution. And Carl cut him off and he said, you know, you want to be one of the greats, right? He goes, as a writer, yeah, of course. He goes, the greats talk solutions. They don't talk problems. Do you subscribe to that, Bryce?
Yes, absolutely. I think, for me personally, especially now where I'm at my career, it's very volatile, with the contracts and, whatnot, season to season. Bad season, I could be out of job. Good season could set me up and my family for, the rest of our lives. So it's a situation where for me, it's like, all right, I know exactly what I need to do. And this is how I'm going to get there, regardless of the position that I'm in. And it's just taking that, the self-control and taking the initiative to be able to, all right, I've been there, I've done it, I've been successful. Let's continue to do it. It's not that, all right, this is bothering me right now, or, my arm's sore, my legs are tired. It's all right, what do I need to do to better prepare myself to get to where I need to be?
Sure. And that's sometimes that's sometimes when you appreciate the ordinary moments, right? Because you love something when the ordinary moments feel extraordinary.
Of course, yeah.
And add up, yeah.
I think, for me personally, like I go out and I throw in 50, 60 games a year, right? Go out and have a 1, 2, 3 inning. Don't think twice about it, right? But then you actually sit there and you go home, and I come home to my son who's about to be 2 years old, and my wife, and I get to sit there and it's like, you know what? My son just watched me pitch in a big league game, and I, had a 1, 2, 3 scoreless inning, and like that's the most satisfying thing for me in the world. And I like that's part of the reason that I just could never take it for granted, because there's the numbers speak for themselves and the percentages and whatnot of people that have made it to where I'm fortunate enough to be, and I just try my best to never take anything for granted in what I do, because it could always be the last time I ever do it.
It's great perspective. You're right about that.
Oh yeah, that's factual. I get that for sure. I've gone through so much in my life that I completely understand that. But sometimes I know people that think like us, we have to carry people sometimes.
Yeah.
And like my wife, she'll sometimes, get discouraged, and I got to carry her through it. And then there's days that I'm discouraged, and she carries me through it. So we always need that partner to be able to, keep pushing each other to do our very best at all times. I thought that I had a lot of patience. I remember, talking to God, saying, I've raised kids. My patience is great. Man, I got remarried, got 4 more kids, and I realized my patience suck. Because my oldest 2 are 27, 26, and then I have a 11, 13, 17, and 19, and I want to kill them most of the time because no one.
You have a lot of patience, my friend.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be 60. I'm gonna be 60. I'm no spring chicken no more. So patience, man, is like wow. And I know that when you ask God for something, He's gonna give you something that you can learn it from. Like if you ask God for patience, He's not gonna just hand you patience. He's gonna put something in your way to make you learn it.
That's very
so
true.
You don't forget it. So you don't forget it. That's the thing He does. And I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
Avi, my rebuttal on this thing is with Todd. I lost my mom several years back. My mom raised 6 kids on her own. My old man was one of those Okies that left his family, went out to California to search for gold, and of course never found it out there. So my mom raised all 6 kids, and 4 of us went on to have education at Oklahoma State University. They were all athletes. Even my sister was an outstanding athlete. So losing your mom, I know how that is, and I know the emotion that goes behind it. My mom suffered for a few months before she passed, and the emotion that my sister, who she was staying in my sister's home because we didn't want her in hospice with a bunch of strangers. We brought her home, and just sitting there and talking to her in the later stages of her life just gave me inspiration, and the things that she would say to me. And, our belief, we're Chickasaws, our belief in our heritage just carried me through. And also with Bryce, your younger brother, that he was your sort of your role model. I had an older brother that kind of fulfilled the role of my father. He would all state everything, all American, everything he did. The guy that you looked up to all your life, and losing him and watching him go through his progression toward death and his courage that he had. And I'm sure you guys were inspired by the same feelings that I had there. But I had the respect that I have for both of you, Todd. Listen to your love for your mother, and Bryce, your love for your younger brother. He's a privileged young man to have an older brother like you. So bless you both.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No doubt about that. And again, yeah, I think maybe sometimes when Gerald, you brought up a story, and I can relate to it, when you see your parents at the end of their life, you almost see yourself in them because you want your own kids to be there for them the way that you are. And that is the full cycle. That is the circle. And to make sure that it's complete, being there despite, that's the hardest thing, because sometimes we hold grudges and sometimes we have to bite our tongue. But to be there at the end, God Almighty, I don't think there's anything more humane than being there for your parents in some capacity towards the end of their life. I really don't. So I appreciate Todd and Gerald for delving into that. And of course, for Bryce, making it all about family, because that's what it's all about. And guys, what it's all about right now is you guys getting that index finger ready as well to type, because you're going to be typing soon. It's going to be tough. Now, remember, voting is not this salacious thing. It's who resonated most with you. Who resonated most with you? There's no better or worse here. Who resonated most with you and why? You guys can be expressive and detailed as I ask Gerald the following question, which is topic number 1. Gerald, if you can make a case for both ideologies, discussing a time in your life where you're relieved to know that you led with your heart over your head, and then providing an example in your life where you were relieved to know that you led with your head over your heart. Whenever you're ready, my friend, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Avi. I got several subjects here I want to touch on. One of them is personal. When I was getting out of the ring, you reach that age where you've slowed down a little bit. You've lost that step, and you're not that champion material that you were before. You can feel that, and Bryce, you'll feel it one day. You got many years ahead of it, but you'll feel that. Hey, I just don't feel the same. The excitement's not there. And Bryce, I try to explain to my wife the role of a relief pitcher, the pressure that you guys live under. You're brought into a game. The momentum has changed usually when you're brought into a game. It's not, mandy-pandy 1, 2, 3 inning. You're usually facing the top of the order. You're facing the best hitters in the world, not just in the league, but in the world, the top hitters in the world. Your team is relying on you to go out there and get these guys out. So the pressure that they throw on you, that's got to be one of the toughest jobs in the world. But and you'll know when your time is there. And then so I got out of the ring, and I'm making a decision. I want to go at the teaching? Do I want to go into coaching? I wanted to do that, but I've been volunteering and doing that. But what I really wanted to do, I wanted to get backstage in my business. I wanted to be one of the decision makers. So I worked my way up, and I got the job with WWE. Had an opportunity. All of a sudden, I get a phone call from Hulk Hogan himself, who I helped get into the business. And he said, Gerald, I got somebody who wants to talk to you, wants to offer you a deal. The other guy got on the phone, and he offered me probably twice the money that I was getting, but I'd already had a job, and the guy took a chance on bringing me in, saw what I could do, and was elevating me rapidly behind the scenes there. So when I got this offer, I said, now, man, that's an awful lot of money. Do I really want to do this? And it was less time, less commitment, but I'm a commitment guy. I'm not one of those guys that give it half-assed effort. I want, when I go into something, I want to go in both feet. So I sit down and talk to my wife. I can make twice the money, but I don't know how long this organization is going to have a backbone. I know this other guy. He told me he's lived up to his word. So what do I want to do? So I had to start and make a decision with my head and with my heart. Do I want to leave somebody that has already taken a chance on me to go with somebody I don't know, and I don't know their corporate structure? So that's thinking with my mind. So I'd sit there and I analyzed both with the help of my wife and my family, and we came down. The guy took a chance on you. He's elevated you 3 times already. Why take that chance? You go with your heart there. So I went with my heart on the decision. I stayed, and I had 36 years of great employment through this guy. But that's just an example of leading with your heart or your mind. But on another side of the deal, business decision. To me, if you're making a business decision and you work for your hard-earned money, Bryce, you go out there and you work your butt off. You pitch those 60, 70 innings a year, and you worked your butt off. You sweated. You had injuries. You fought through your injuries. Todd, you go and you study your lines and you deliver them. You win award for them and everything. So you work your butt off of that. But the bottom line is making the decision with your heart or your mind. So when it came time to, I got the job. I was one as a talent scout for the WWE. A great job. I get to go out and help these young men and women pursue a dream, or put a dream in front of their face. Put this carrot in front of their face. Okay, I'm not guaranteeing you're going to get the entire carrot, but you can get a bite of this carrot because I'm giving you that opportunity. But to get that carrot, you got to dedicate your life to this. So, do you want to hire this guy or you not want to hire a guy? So I'm out and I'm at a Division II tournament. You got there's Division I, Division II, Division III in the college athletics. Well, Division II is right under Division I, of course, and so there was this kid out there. He's a 275-pounder. So I go to this tournament, and I'm sitting there and I'm hearing all these coaches. Brisco, you ought to talk to this guy. Brisco, you ought to talk to this guy. All of a sudden, this kid comes up to me. He's 5'7". He got long red hair and he got pimples all over his face. And he's one of these dumpy little guys that you see on the street. And I'm like, man, you're not WWE material. But I'm not telling him that. I'm not going to destroy his dream, because that's what he dreamt about all of his life. And so the next year, he's a freshman, 18-year-old freshman. Next year, I go and see him. All of a sudden, he's trimmed down. And all of a sudden, that acne's starting to clear up. But he had gained in height or fixed his body. And then progression goes on where finally he's a cheater. Now I got to make up my mind. Knowing in my heart what the organization looks for in a talent, they're looking for guys at 6 foot, 6'4", 6'5", 275 pounds with a chiseled body. This guy does not fit any of the qualifications that I'm looking for, except one. This kid has the best personality I've ever seen in my life. He's laughing all the time. He's smiling all the time. And when you go and you kind of looking around for talent and everything, in my business too, you want to see how the other kids are reacting to this guy. And every time I'd look over and look at this guy, he would have dozens of other kids around him. That means he's a leader. That means he's got a personality. Well, those two things are really big in my business, being a leader and having that personality that explodes on TV when they get that opportunity. So I'm filling out my final list to go over to the training camp over there. And I'm coming. I said, well, this guy definitely, yes, this guy definitely, this guy definitely. And I come down to the guy's name. I said, man, he don't have a chance, because all the other guys I've put on my list, check mark. 6'2", 6'1", 280, good looking, good athlete, all American, all this stuff. They all check the boxes. He only checks two boxes on my deal, and I'm thinking with my head, he's not going to make it. Then all of a sudden, that heart kicks in, and you say, "Man, this guy got the desire." He showed me for 4 years. He tracked me down every tournament that I've gone to. He has that passion, he has that devotion, and he has that incentive that you know what, I'm going to make it in this business. I don't care what they say about it. So the last name I write down his name. He goes over to Orlando to our training camp. We go through everything, and it's just what I thought. But the thing that he's training out in Colorado. And you guys know that the altitude out there, you're training out there, you're not going to blow up when you're at sea level. So the coaches are putting these guys through all these calisthenics trying to see who's going to blow up. Well, they say this sort of little dumpy guy, we're going to make him run the ring until he blows up. And we put 4 other guys in there. He outlasted every one of them. So he knew he had the heart. You knew he had that heart to do what he wanted to do. So we go and we do our promo section, which probably is the most important 2 minutes these kids will have their entire training camp. You stick a mic in front of them, and you just ad lib. You ask the audience, the other judges, give him a subject, and then right off the top of your head, you got to cut a 2-minute promo. Have you ever tried that? Just somebody throw a question. All right, 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes that makes sense. And so he didn't do real good on that. I got to tell you the truth. And so I looked at around judges, and I kind of, Brisco, why did you have this guy come in there and waste our time there? So, it is time. 2 minutes were up. So all of a sudden, he's walking off the stage. I said, wait a minute. I said, do you have any other skills? And he said, I don't know what you mean. I said, well, I heard you telling some people you can dance. Can you dance? He said, no, but I can do the worm. Here's this 285-pound guy. I said, do the worm for me. So he goes down and he does the worm, and he comes up with a big smile on it, and he does it perfect. And everybody gives him an applause. Man, he made it. And sure enough, he turned out to be Otis, WWE, one of the biggest superstars now, who a guy that my brain told me that he wasn't going to make it, but my heart told me that he would make it. And I took that chance, and I put him down, and now he's one of the biggest superstars in our business there. So that's when they battle that brain and that mind. The other guy, I found, and he checked all the boxes, of course, with Brock Lesnar. It didn't. But I've got it in my head that this guy's got everything he takes. And then I heard, well, Brock, he's one of these guys. He's impulsive. He wants to do a lot of different things, which turned out the coach told me what he told me about him being impulsive. He wanted to do a lot of things. Right in the peak of his career with WWE, he wanted to retire, go into MMA. Well, he did that, and he became an MMA world champion at that too. So, that's taken with your heart there, or your mind there, and it didn't have anything to do with my heart. It's common sense. And a wise philosopher told me, I'll end with that. A wise philosopher told me one time, Brisco, when it comes to love and romance, trust your heart. When it comes to money, trust your brain. So I've lived by that advice all my life. That's it for me.
Wow, that is incredible. And you got a great reputation, of course, as a scout, but you still put your name on the line at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You went.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, we all do. All three of us do. All four of us do.
In that story that you mentioned regarding Otis, yeah, you definitely put your name on the line. Going for someone that maybe on paper is unconventional, but man, oh man, you believed in him. You saw something in him. I think that's pretty cool. I want to ask Gerald a question here as well. Gerald, I don't know why this popped into my old noggin here, but when you were speaking, it did. Do you think that sometimes we are our best when we're at our worst?
I know. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'll say that sometimes, but sometimes you're worn out. You've been on the road, and all three of you guys can testify that you're on the road. You're all worn out and everything, and you go into a situation. I used to be 4 days on the road, and I would get home. I'd land at the airport. I'd get in my car, and I'd drive across town. And one of my sons having a wrestling match, or the team that I'm helping coach having a wrestling duel. I'd sit there in the corner, and there was nothing like it, to relieve that pressure, to see those kids out there working and see them hit a move that you taught them the week before and win a match from it there. So yes.
I had to ask that. I'm glad, because I really feel that there's a resiliency when you excel to the level of a Todd Bridges or Gerald Brisco or Bryse Wilson, to be able to get to that level. I remember sleeping in station wagons when I was doing my own, paying my dues as a writer, and getting anything I could get my hands on, because mom and dad didn't pay the bills for me. I've been out of my house since I was 17, and we used to live on what I call the bologna blowouts, or if there was no time for protein, even, Gerald, I mixed orange juice and tuna. Orange juice and tuna. That's the old school way I was taught, and that's how I would drink my protein. And it was disgusting, but I guarantee you it made me feel so much more grateful for, I guess, what was to come. And I really don't think people can appreciate what they have when they don't experience something they didn't. You have to have the didn't before the did.
Kids today definitely don't get it. They don't understand it all. Kids, they don't. They have so much things at their fingertips. They don't know what it's like. Yeah. I don't even think Bryce knows about the one phone in the hallway. The one phone in the hallway. And then we got the long cord that we can stretch the long cord and be in every room on that phone, like, hello, or the pay phone. You had to stop at the pay phone to make a phone call. That was crazy.
You're so right about that. You're so right. When I was 16 years old, the year before I left the house, So I was in an apartment in Queens, New York, which is where I was raised.
Yeah.
And my dad and mom would go to sleep at like midnight. But I was dating, I was dating a lot of girls. So I'm dating, but they couldn't call my house past a certain time.
No.
I would call.
Mom would kill me.
At 11 p.m., I swear I would do this. I would call 77 Film. You remember 777 Film?
Yeah.
It was an
The party
automated
lines?
system. The party
Oh,
line.
automated system. Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
I kept it on my ear for like an hour and a half until one of my girlfriends would call me at 1 a.m. because then the call waiting, nobody could hear the ringer because I'm on this thing. And I'd pick it up, and then we'd make our plans and sneak out. Man, what a time it was. And, of course, VHS tapes. That's all I'm going to say. VHS.
Yeah, and that's when TV went off. When TV actually went off.
Yes, it went off air. It went off air. That's right.
It went off the air.
Bryce and I are too young to remember that.
Oh, gosh. Well, God almighty, I got to ask you guys this. We're going to delve into topic number 2 right now. But before we do, guys and gals, we're going to observe you. We're going to sit back for a minute in silence because you now are going to vote on who you think won topic number 1.
Oh man, what an amazing debate we have so far. Amazing topics, Avi Klein. Amazing first topic, the heart and the mind. Man, something that we all deal with. I know I do, and I'm sure you guys, the viewers, do. So let's get into it. Oh, really quick, guys, before I start, just remember that after the last topic, and there's going to be some tribute videos. Then after the tribute video, we're going to vote on and find out who actually advances to round number 3. So definitely tune in for that. All right. So Todd talked about how his mind did not want to let go of his mom, but his heart did. And the struggle of that. He talked about how the brain is guided by, the devil, this negative energy, and the heart is guided by God, this positive energy. And, how the heart leads you the right way and how the mind leads you astray. I actually love the play on words there as well. Bryce talked about that really difficult situation that his younger brother was going through and being able to guide him through that. He talked about how, he wants to be, his heart guides him to be of service to his team, to make sure he throws that perfect game, that perfect pitch, which is really awesome to hear. Man, Gerald went into this beautiful story of how he discovered Otis, and he talks about how ultimately, on paper, this guy didn't seem like he fit the bill of what they were looking for, but he had, and guys, you can vote now. Make sure that you could vote. You vote now, guys. Okay, all right. So you take your thumbs and you start voting now, guys. This is the time to do that. Just letting you guys know. All right. But yeah, getting back. So so Otis didn't have what they were looking for, but his heart allowed him to see that this guy could be a leader and this guy had personality. And that was really beautiful how he kind of tied that in. And, just asking him the question, what other talents you have? And he could do the worm. Again, the heart being able to kind of keep this space open, right? So the mind doesn't completely, overjudge everything. Ultimately, my vote's going to go to Todd. And really the reason being is, the situation with his mom, and my condolences to you, Todd. I mean, that's life and death. When you're dealing with life and death situations and the heart and mind get wrapped in the final decision, that's a difficult, precarious place to be. And Todd, all 3 men were brave enough to open up their hearts and minds, but that situation resonated with me the most. So my vote goes to Todd. That said, I'm going to now go kick it to my man, Jamie. Jamie, talk to us, brother.
My greenies, my man. All right, let's get some votes piling in right now. This was amazing. I really enjoyed the heartfelt topics and the way that people interweaved their life experiences into it. So hard. Bryse Wilson, when you talked about the Swiss Army knife, I thought that was tremendous. That just really speaks to having multiple talents and the pride of which you said it, to be there, that part for your team, that really, really resonated with me. And my father-in-law, Gerald Gorowski, he is a huge fan, and he's probably going to kick my butt for this, but I can't vote for you, Bryce. God bless Mr. Bridges, and I'm so sorry for your loss. And yeah, keep voting, guys. We're so sorry for your loss. When you talked about your mama going home, that really spoke to me tremendously, and I felt for you. However, I have to vote for Gerald Brisco. He took us on a voyage in his mind through time, and it really was part of the topic. It was so expertly woven. And not only that, but he talked of backbone and loyalty, which are so important. And then one of the things that kind of got me, I'm sorry, but it resonated with me. He used namby-pamby in a sentence, and he did it in such a way that it made total sense. And on my sheet, I have namby-pamby, backbone, and loyalty. My vote is going to go to Mr. Gerald Brisco. Well done. Gentlemen, each and every one of you was phenomenal. And keep voting, Greenies. Topic 2 is coming up. But first, we need to hear from Giselle. Hey, Giselle, let us know what you thought.
Good evening, everyone. As Jamie and Howard said, type your votes in now. They are being tallied in the back. We are seeing them pulled up live on screen. So go ahead and get those votes in, and we will let you know after the second topic and the tribute videos who has won this particular match. So stay tuned, because we have another topic coming up after this and a lovely round of tribute videos and much more sure to come. You want to stick around until the end, because at the end of the outro, at the end of this entire night with the outro, we have for you the first glimpse at next week's match. So go ahead and get your votes in. Our live judges votes, that is tonight, Howard, Jamie, and myself, they are worth 5 points, and your votes in the comments are worth 1 point each. Get those in. We're seeing them on screen. We're bringing them up. We're tallying them in the back right here. So you will know who is winning this in real time. Thank you, Allison. Appreciate that so much. Bonsoir, Jacques. And Natalie, I saw her in the comments too. On to the tough part now. Because everyone for this topic said something that resonated. Choosing between the head and the heart, and which one's better when letting go of a parent. I've fortunately not experienced that yet, but my father has with my grandmother, and that was very difficult for him when the heart knows you're gone, but the head is trying to convince you to stay, even though you know all of this other information. So I think a lot of people can relate to that struggle, losing someone they love very much. Mr. Wilson actually had a ton of points that resonated with me and proved just how similar anyone in the entertainment field is, because athletes and storytellers are quite connected. We are all in the entertainment business, and he has said that if he can reach one person and make a positive impact who is watching either live or on television, then he has done his job. And I often feel that way live on stage as well. And that is the entire mission here at TKN and what we do. He also mentioned throwing each pitch with conviction and intention, and we need to lead with that in our lives to tell these honest and authentic stories. And Mr. Brisco with examples from his life, business examples, scouting examples, such wonderful, wonderful stories there. I was enraptured the entire time. But my vote is going to go to Bryse Wilson for that. And with that, keep typing your votes in if you haven't already. We are on our way to topic number 2 with Bryse Wilson, Gerald Brisco, and Todd Bridges.
We are ready to go now for topic number 2. And topic number 2, guys, is a doozy. But before I get into that, I do want to bring this up again. Guys and gals, again, 131 luminaries from all walks of life. We're talking about 131 Hall of Famers from the world of sports, music, pro wrestling, not to mention Oscar, Emmy, Golden Globe, Grammy, Golden Globe, AMA, WGA, and Olympians all competing for the pride of the prize. It's not merely the size, guys and gals. It's the look in their eyes because they want to win this thing. And this tournament is for real. But it teaches us about humanity, respect. Already you could see the friendship develop between a Gerald Brisco, Todd Bridges, and Bryse Wilson because it's about respect. Old school, old-fashioned respect. We could do this and have fun at the same time. But guess what, guys and gals? One is going to win this tournament and get to meet more people in the further rounds. That's an incentive as well. Social situation question for Todd, Bryse, and Gerald. I have to ask this question. You're in a restaurant. You made a reservation. We've all done it. Is it okay to ask a lingering table to hurry up? To get on with it a little bit? You know, they're kind of done and they're schmoozing, I know, but it's a long schmooze fest, and you kind of want to sit down because you have a reservation. What do we do at this point?
I don't think I'm going to say anything.
I ordered another double. Is what I did.
Yeah. I'm not going to say much.
Yeah, I'm such an introvert. I'm just going to go to the bar and get another drink, and we'll just wait it out.
Yeah,
I don't know. It depends.
Because we've all been in that situation. We've all taken longer than we should, right?
Oh yeah.
What if you're on an airplane? Okay, how about this one? Is it inappropriate to recline your seat on an airplane? You know, and remember, you don't go into a person. You shouldn't go into their lap. Should you get one notch and only one notch on the airplane? Because that's it. Nobody wants to see your head. I think the buttons are wrong, right? If you get rid of the buttons, there should be some sort of golden rule. Don't you feel like we should have sort of like in a football team, there's sort of like we're all going to huddle together before we actually depart and lift off, and we tell our fellow flight goers, hey, look, I know you want to get comfortable. You want to lean back. I'm going to do the same. But one notch is all you get. One notch, because I don't want to feel your bald head right here on my forehead. I don't want your knees to crash with my chair. Some etiquette, some airplane etiquette maybe, you know?
Well, the only thing that bugs me the most about an airplane is when people put their knees in your back, and you're sitting there going, and you're like, you know, and they keep, and you look back.
Yes.
Stop doing that. I would be like, oh, I'm sorry, and stop doing it. But they keep doing it, or they'll put their hands in there, and they'll feel, and it feels like they're touching your butt. You're like, what? It's very weird, you know, when that happens, you know.
Always hits the worst part of your knee. Always.
Yeah.
They're a meniscus that way.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, you're not even doing the person behind you what they want. What about the armrest? There's no armrest rule. It's like Lord of the Flies.
Oh.
I think there should be like a state of the armrest address or something. There needs to be something done. I would vote for the person right now. We don't get political. I would vote for the person who would employ this strategy and make it a policy. I really would.
Well, I usually tell people, you know, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
Avi, when you travel with guys like I do, Big Show and Andre the Giant are 7'4", 450 pounds.
Yeah.
He can do any damn thing he wants to on the airplane. And imagine the passenger when he slides his seat back. Excuse me, sir. Would you mind? Oh, excuse me. Hold on.
Yeah.
The Big Show that's 7'1", 400 pounds. You know, or even you know, some of our big guys out, Brock Lesnar. You know, we all travel on those planes. The thing that you know, I hate the armrest is the thing that gets me. We've all done our time in coach. I mean, is it you get a quarter of it? Do you get a half of it? What do you get?
Yeah,
what are you out of bounds on this?
Right.
But the thing that ticks me off more than anything else is when they're a little kid. We're all parents, so we try to be patient with other parents that have kids that they travel with because we all travel. It's not the chattering thing. I can put up with that.
No,
but
yeah.
when they get bored and they put their little feet on the back of it,
Yes,
and they're not
yes.
giving you a massage. Like,
Come
on now, damn it.
It happened to me one time when I was going to Texas, and I was coming back. I caught the flu, and I was flying back, and I was wearing a mask, and I was so sick. And the kid's kicking my chair, I just want to sleep, you know what I mean? And I go, excuse me, can you please have your son stop kicking? He go, okay, yeah. And it's still going. I'm flying. Look, can you please have your son kick your seat? Now, by now, I'm sweating, because I got the fever. I'm sweating. And he kick my chair, and I go, stop kicking my fucking seat. I'm going to kill you. I'm sorry. I'm crying. I'm like sweating. And finally, the kids, they were like, oh, sorry. But I'm like, how many times do you have to tell somebody to stop kicking your seat, But I've learned something with the arm wresting where I tell a person, you take the front, I'll take the back. That's what I tell people.
A compromise.
You take the front, I'll take the back. It works, I got the back here, she's got the front. It's all right. I'm good with it.
That's airplane etiquette. That's good to have airplane etiquette. There should be toothpaste etiquette. I dated someone who rationed her toothpaste, and the last 10% of a tube of toothpaste lasted about as long as the rest of the 90%. A little bit left. You ever do that? You don't want to. You don't want to.
Do that squeeze, man.
Me too. I just squeeze it all out.
There's one more squeeze left. Always.
That's when you wish you had the Danny Hodge squeeze that could squeeze the apple and the flower.
Guys, Todd and Bryce. I'm sure Danny Hodge. God Almighty. Gerald, with both hands, just break an apple.
Yeah.
Right.
One hand.
That's insane.
I take titanium flowers and snap them like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's
one of the greatest
too strong of
wrestlers
hands
of all time. Oh my God, Danny Hodge, also from Oklahoma, right, Gerald?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Absolutely.
I'll go back to. Were you involved with the Great Mephisto? Do you remember him?
Oh yeah.
That was one of my favorites growing up.
Yeah.
What?
Wow.
Oh man, that is my favorite wrestler of all time. I went to go see him when I was in San Francisco. When I lived there, I was 6 years old. It was like 60 something, like 1960 something.
That was the
like
Roy
maybe.
Shire territory. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had the mumps, and I begged my mom to let me go. I was like, please let me go. He's gonna be there. It's a cage, massive. It's a cage. No, it was the steel cage of death, something crazy like that. And my mom finally let me go and put a sheet around my head, and I went. And people thought I was an Arab because I had a sheet around my head. And I was like, I just wanted to be there and watch the wrestling match. That's all I wanted to be able to do.
Todd, I got to ask you a question to confirm. I heard if you were in the Cow Palace, there were fans throwing themselves. It was dangerous for the wrestler to walk down there.
Yeah, it was very much so. The Cow Palace was a weird place to watch.
All the Samoans.
Yes.
Mike Patterson used to tell me stories about when he would wrestle Alpha and Siki out there, and all the Samoans, they would be coming over the balcony. And it was more dangerous walking to the back. And
and they're big, they're huge. And the Samoans aren't little, so they're you don't want them running that shit. It was weird. That place, the way it was designed was different. That's why it's not there today.
Right.
It was designed.
Here you are, Todd. You're dressed like an Arab man, and Mephisto went. He's a damn redneck from Detroit, Michigan.
But I love the Great Mephisto. Oh yeah.
Can you imagine a guy in San Francisco like a Roddy Piper who was so big over there in Frisco, doing what he does on the microphone with some of the heat there in the 70s? Incredible stuff. Guys and gals and pals, again, I'm going to kick it over to Gerald, Todd, and Bryce for topic number 2. This is the last thing we're going to do before we kick it over to topic number 2 because I said I would for him. Guys, we go a bit back. Our latest entrant into this tournament, guys, right before round number 1 ended, right before it ended, he kind of squeaked in 11th hour. As you know, he appeared one time recently, made his debut, and is already making his presence felt. Of course, guys, our last second round participant. Thank you for joining us tonight, my friend.
No problem, brother. I had a great time. And You're doing it, man.
Thank you.
You're doing it, brother. You're doing something like you and I have always talked about. Outside the box, thinking outside the box, and on top of that, entertaining people at the same time, and on top of that, educating people at the same time, and with all that rolled into one, Avi, you can't lose, bro.
Means a lot.
You can't lose.
Can't lose.
Participants love it. The audience loves it, and you're getting something that you can't get anywhere else.
Means a lot to me, my friend. And again,
that's real talk, bro.
It's real talk, and you're a huge part of it. Guys, in case you don't know Stevie Ray, this is a man who's very knowledgeable very gifted, has the gift of gab. He's coming here again. He made the last spot mean something when he entered round number 2. He's here, our latest and final second round participants, guys, as that door is closed and round 2 is here. And pretty soon round 3 will be as well. It's going to accelerate more and more as we get further into the rounds, guys and gals and pals. 6 rounds total in this tournament. 6 rounds total. 2 out of 3 will advance tonight. Guys and gals, I'm going to set up topic number 1 to all the guys and gals and pals in the comment section. It's all about mental health in the NFL. And this one could get we'll see how it goes. Again, rebuttals are optional. We'll see if there's rebuttals. Mental health has always been a taboo topic in the NFL for a long time because of the sport's hyper-masculine culture. It views vulnerability as a weakness, perhaps, sometimes. But what about athletes who often avoid seeking help from mental health services due to the stigma of mental illness? It could lead to a loss of self-esteem. And in addition to this, teams may be hesitant to draft players with mental health issues, or they may not be equipped to even work with them at all. This begs the question. And now I'm going to kick this thing off, guys and gals, first with Mr. Bryse Wilson. Bryce, should an NFL team be required to sit out a player and or place them on the IR if they're dealing with mental health issues, or is it too much of a gray area due to the lack of anonymity? Whenever you're ready, good sir, the floor is yours.
This is it's a very, very interesting discussion. Because I think all 3 of us sitting here could probably say that we've probably dealt with mental health issues throughout our career, right? It's each individual business that we're in. They're all tough businesses, right? But that even goes as far, like, I know the topic is NFL, but just to branch it into other sports and just a broader spectrum, mental health is such a very tough topic because it's you can't put a number on it, right? You can't measure it. It's not like if you have the flu, you're going to probably know because you have a fever, right? Your temperature's up. Mm-hmm. Or if, you have a physical injury, you could take a picture, whether it's an X-ray, MRI, you can take a picture and you can justify your conclusion. Mental health is such a tough topic just because there's no measurable way to diagnose it. There's no confirmed way to fix it, right? And I think, like, my answer to the question, should a NFL team be required to, sit out a player for mental health issues? My simple answer is yes, because, man, you never know what that certain individual or that player is going through, right? Whether it's, confidence within the sport, whether it's, off the field with family, friends, whatever it may be, you never really know what's going on in someone's mind, and right? And if you look at athletes in general, I think the bigger span of athletes, right, they're raised to take on, or not raised, they're mentally, they like to take on the world by themselves, right? That's just the type of people they are, and it's part of what makes them get to the level that they're able to get to. And I've gone through it a little bit in my career, right? The confidence issue. You go out, you don't succeed for expanded amounts of time, right? And you go out, and the self-confidence, the self-esteem is such an interesting, and like, it's hard to put a number on or measure, which is like in baseball today, everything's measured with numbers. And I think that, organizations should do a better job of supplying outlets or supplying resources to combat mental health, and resources that these athletes feel comfortable going to. I think part of that is a little bit of the issue, right? Is like, everybody has team mental health coaches, right? But I think players' associations should provide resources outside of the teams so that players feel more comfortable, going to these resources, and the team not judging them based off of their, what they're going through, right? And I think it's a very serious thing, especially now in the world of social media, right? I feel like 30, 40 years ago, right? You can go out and have a bad game, never hear anything of it because nobody's tweeting at you, right? Nobody's commenting on any of your stuff, right? Like now, like I go out and have a bad game. It's not only me, right? I'm getting all of this hate and stuff through the media, but it's my wife as well, which is like terrible to think, right? But it's like that's just the world that we live in, right? Especially gambling nowadays, like, and it's just all of that just takes a toll. And the business that we're in, right? It's tough because I would say that it's such a hard business because there's no like there are very few second chances, right? Like I've mentioned previously, like I go out and I have a bad season, it's going to take a lot for me to, get back. It's on to the next because there are so many talented people in the world, and with all of the new technology, it's easy for them to step forward, right? And it just all takes a toll over the long run. And I going back, like I think my answer is yes, even though it's it's gonna raise a lot of issues throughout, just fans and whatnot, just because they're not gonna really understand it to an extent. Like us, like athletes we're still people. Like we still have our own lives. Yes, we get to play a sport for a living, right? And I will never take that for granted. I love it with everything that I have. But at the end of the day, we still work for a business and we work for a company, right? It's still my job. And the mental toll that it all takes is extraordinary. And it took me a while to really, me personally, it took me a while to use the resources that were available to me. And once I did, it helped tremendously. But I really do believe that mental health is a big problem in sports nowadays. I think it takes a toll on a lot of people that don't open up about it. And you don't even have to open up to the public, right? It's just talk to somebody, it doesn't even have to be a trained professional. Just, talk to your wife, your parents, whoever it may be, a teammate, a coach. I think that's my message and this is why I love this show, is because you can really just get what you think out and what you feel. And I just open up about it, right? Don't sit there and go home and just let it just take a toll, because it only compounds. I guess that's my answer. So.
No, I appreciate that. And Bryce, really, thanks for educating us on your mind and your heart, man. That means a lot. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Really, guys and gals, again, the trust here is something that means a lot to me, and I want to make sure we kind of foster that here. I do want to bring this up as well, guys, before we kick it over to Mr. Gerald Brisco for the same topic, and then Todd Bridges. Guys and gals and pals, I didn't know if that was I see with Gerald Brisco, guys and gals and pals, Gerald Brisco could still kind of knock me up like a pretzel if he wants to. So I don't want to get Gerald mad.
Well, I mean, the only rebuttal I could get with your sequel there is you are competing. You're competing with yourself, and then once you learn how to compete with yourself and how you can drive yourself, then that's when you win. But you are competing. We're always competing in everything we do, and mostly it's competing with yourself.
Yeah, I stand corrected. You're right. That's how we get better. You're right about that, my friend. Guys and gals, speaking of Mr. Gerald Brisco, it'll be the same question for Gerald. Should an NFL team be required to sit out a player and or place them on the IR if they're dealing with mental health issues, or is it too much of a gray area due to the lack of anonymity? The floor is yours whenever you're ready to go, good sir.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Bryce for his talk there. I mean, it's personal. He's an active professional athlete, and the pressure that he's under, as I said before, and his role in a baseball team, that reliever job and the closer job to me are two of the most difficult positions in any of professional sports. And I admire the man for doing that. And I know he had a teammate who was a Tampa Bay Ray, who I'm a big fan of, that got traded to his team and had to set out, I think it was last year or this year, with mental illness problems. The courage that it takes for a player or a coach or an individual to step forward and say, guys, I need help is just insurmountable. I can't think of any other thing that would take more courage to go, hey, guy, I'm just not mentally ready, because we pride ourselves as actors and athletes and performers that we're at the top of our game all the time. And that mental illness, it affects all of us in some way. The pressure, I mean, as I was a young man coming up in that business, the self-doubt that I had, am I big enough? Am I tough enough? Do I have the durability of my body? And can I make it there? That's all a form of mental illness that was creeping in on my mind. And I'm sure no matter what role and it's not only in athletics, but my wife's a school teacher. She sees it all the time in school teaching. There are teachers that she teaches with. Sometimes they come in and their mind is just gone, and then it all deals with mental illness. But my answer to the question is yes, I think it do. I think a team does have a right to shelf somebody. But number two, you look on the legal aspect of it, which none of us have brought up, the legality of this thing. I mean, you're depriving somebody of making a living because it's your assumption that this guy has mental illness, and there's no test out there really that can certify that a person is suffering from mental illness. It's a situation that our entire country, our entire world is looking at, and I'm really glad it's being brought to the forefront here. But I kind of fear the legality standpoint once these things start coming to the forefront about athletes. Where I'm okay, I can pass any test, and what test is there out there to say that you have mental illness? If the player saying he needs help, all right, I got the help. Now let me back on the team. Well, no, we don't want to take a chance, or a corporation where you're working as a salesman or something like that. Hey, I'm okay to see clients now. Well, are you sure? And then that doubt, is it going to prohibit you from advancing in your career, not only in sports, but in everyday life? So I think it's a very complicated question. I told you right off the bat, Avi, that I didn't like the question. But the reason I didn't like the question is because it's such a complicated question. There's no right answers for it. And that's what the sad thing is right now. There's no right answer for it. But I think if you're invested, as Bryce says, if you're investing somebody in millions and hundreds or thousands or even $100 or $10, you want the best out of it. And if there's a little flaw, whether it be in a physical flaw or a mental flaw, you don't want that person. You're not going to have total trust in that guy. So coming forward, it takes so much courage to come forward and say, yeah, I need help, because all those barriers that's going to be in front of you as you're trying to return to it. So that's the downside of it. But I am a firm believer that if I'm invested in a person, I expect the best out of it, not only physically but mentally, 24/7. And if they're suffering from some type of illness, whether it be mental illness or a common cold, you're not going to get the best out of them. So that's kind of my wrap up there.
Well, a great wrap up, but also a really good point, because you're right. This is a topic, I guess, in the hands of maybe the talking heads out there. Maybe they fumble and stumble and mumble and bumble all over the place. But I knew that you guys would be able to tackle, no pun intended, a topic like this the way that you did, because I knew you'd give it a lot of thought. And I know you guys are passionate not just about the sport, but about, as Bryce alluded to as well, you guys are human beings. And I think, one of the reasons why I do this show is because I've worked with luminaries my whole life. And it's like, let's find out more about the person behind the persona. Everyone wants to look at the persona. Everyone wants to look at the Gerald Brisco Hall of Fame ring. Everybody wants to look at Bryse Wilson's amazing pitch. Everybody wants to look at Todd Bridges' incredible film and TV resume. But, they forget you're still on that plane. You're still having a cold or a flu you have to get through. You're still trying to find a gym when it's 4 a.m. and the only thing open is Waffle House when you're in Gerald Brisco's case in his prime, and you don't get to see Paris, France, even though you're there. You don't get to see those cities. You get to see a gym, if you're lucky, at Denny's and your hotel bed, and then the arena, and that's it. Lather, rinse, repeat all over again. So you guys know what that's like, and I'm glad you're delving into this the way that you are. Guys, to wrap this up, topic number 2, and this is all cumulative, remember that. So the top 2 vote getters after this will move on to round number 3. That's how it goes, guys and gals. That's how the old mop flops. I'm going to give it over to Mr. Todd Bridges right now. Todd, Should an NFL team, my friend, be required to sit out a player and or place them on the IR if they're dealing with mental health issues, or is it too much of a gray area due to the lack of anonymity? The floor is yours, good sir.
Well, let me go into this first. I think that one of the problems is that mental health issues are probably the single most destructive things to mankind. Because the reason why I feel that way is because it's not something that just shows, like, you know, like a cold or cancer or, you know, or AIDS or something like that. It doesn't just show. So it's something that could be in there and festering. And the guy from the outside can look fine, but on the inside, he is falling apart. You know, he's losing his mind. Should the NFL be able to do that? I think yes, but with great caution, because they may use that to their advantage to also get ahead on the guy when it comes to he's making his money. You know, and Bryce is exactly right. You know, Bryce, you are out there right now in there, and I think that we know how management works. You know, management will use anything they can to get that edge on that person, not to have to give them a certain amount of money, not to have to give them a certain amount of things, you know. It's just how management works. But should the NFL be able to do it? I think if he's diagnosed properly and he goes through the proper channels, yes. If not, they may not be able to touch it. It's just like when a person's having mental health issues and the police come and they have no idea this guy's suffering from mental health, and the guy's acting wild and crazy, gets shot. And no one knows, hey, man, this guy was suffering from mental health that maybe didn't need to be shot, but the police didn't know. I think that when I grew up, you know, I remember my mom telling me in the very beginning that, you know, you should go see somebody, a psychiatrist. I was like, are you kidding me? This is the 80s. People think I'm nuts if I go see a psychiatrist. You know, nowadays, you're applauded for it. You're welcomed. Yes, you're going to see a therapist. Oh, my God. You are so blessed. Way to go, man. You know, but if, you know, in the 80s you had brought that out, man, you were considered a crazy person. I think the NFL should find a way to do it in a way to where it doesn't like taint the guy's career. So should the NFL be able to do it? That is the big debate. Should management, that upper top management, be able to do it, or should it be the other people that are like in his life, like his agent, his manager, who can protect him so that the team cannot use that against him? You know, because we all know that when it comes to management and paying people, they like to shortchange everybody. And it's not just your business or your business, it's our business too. You know, they will sit there, you know, with us and tell us that, you know, we, you know, like a movie, you know, say you take points in the movie. Oh, the movie made no money. Like, yes, it did. That movie, you know, makes $800 million. Oh, no, it made it. But we didn't make anything. So therefore, you can't make anything. Knowing good and well, you got to, you know, then you got to hire a lawyer, go after them with the books. But the minute you start going after them too hard, they're going to claim that you're losing your mind. You're not acting right. You're not doing what's right. And then they're going to try to, you know, punish you by sitting you down or not allowing you to work. What I've learned in this business that when we speak up, sometimes, you know, I've learned there's a right way to speak up and a wrong way to speak up. Always have your agent speak up. You never speak up. Always, you can go when they say, man, what's wrong with your agent? Man, I don't know. He's tough, man. He's tough on me. Blame him. Because when you blame him, they can't go after you or hurt you for it. They blame that his agent sucks. Like, he's a great guy, but his agent stinks. You know, and that's okay. My agent can't stink as long as that, you know, he has the ability to get what I need. You know,
make him earn that 10%.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But should the NFL be able to do it? You know, I think that it's not a gray area, but it's a line we have to really watch, because I think that the only player in the end the only people that will get hurt in the end are the players. Those are the ones that are going to get hurt in the end. Management is going to find a way to take advantage of that. They just are. That's what they do. You know, they're not people who are honest, people who are, you know, people who are going to help you. You know, they're always trying to shortchange all of us that are in this business until we get our own. Now, if we get our own, it's different. But until we do that, you know, management will always find a way to hog tie us, pay us a little bit of money, not what we're actually worth. You know, I give a good example is Saquon Barkley. Why are Giants fans so mad at Saquon Barkley? You blame management for not paying that man what he deserved. He went to Philly, which is my team, by the way, and you know he played them and he was running all over them. And it's like, and I remember watching the owner say, if he goes to Philly, I'm going to be sick. Well, I guarantee you, after this weekend, he was quite sick. But that's why, you know, it's like they don't want to have to pay a person. No matter how much they know how good he is, it just kills them to have to squeeze out a little more money, you know? And I think that if they can take mental health and use that against the person, oh yeah, they'd be getting less money because of that. Oh, well, he's got mental health issues. We can't pay him this money. We don't know if he's going to be around to be able to do this. You know what I mean? So I really believe that it's not a gray area, but we have to make sure before that's allowed to happen, we find a way to make sure that management can't take advantage of it.
Yes. Man, that was one hell of a riveting conversation. Mr. Bryse Wilson.
Todd, I think you hit it perfectly, the nail on the head there, that the only person that loses is the player, right? Because you look at this new generation and like the new world, right? It's very, very much encouraged, right? Open up, go see somebody. But when you're in the business and you're sitting there, you're like, I can't do that. Oh. And then you just you let it sit there and it festers and it builds. And then to the point where you either do go see somebody and you hear it from management or front office or whatever it may be, or it in turn just ruins your career because it becomes something that you just can't overcome. And that's where we have to come to an understanding between whether it's PAs and union or PAs and owners or, whatever it may be. There has to be an understanding that can't, affect your future contracts or the money you're making or your career, right?
That's so very true, yeah. Because, even a player's reputation is on the line as well.
Oh, yeah.
And they could lower their value. Sir, absolutely. That's a really good point. And, guys, again, thank you all for inviting us to your living room on a Saturday night, each and every Saturday night. We're proud to say that on a show like this, a lot goes into it. 5 days just to get 1, 2 going strong. And we'll see where we go, guys and gals, because of you. So thank you for being the engine that makes this thing go. And what a riveting conversation it is, as I mentioned earlier, because you can tell I'm not in this match right now. And my hair's already down and my glasses are all crooked and I'm sweating. And I'm in this match right now, even though I'm not, because I'm absorbing everything Todd, Bryce, and Gerald are giving me as well. Really thoughtful conversation, really hard hitting, really passionate. But at the end of the day, guys and gals and pals, I don't want to speak for Gerald, Bryce, or Todd, but I get the feeling that once again, 3 men walked in here, got to know each other and became friends. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about here. Mutual respect across the board from 3 professionals, guys and gals, who gave it their all and always do. And we appreciate them for giving us their time. No doubt about that. Respect all the way. Guys, we now kick it over to you to vote, the final vote for topic number 2 to determine who winds up in round number 3.
Oh my God, man. Really complex topic here. Again, really great topic, Avi. There's, those 3 competitors looked at it from so many interesting different angles and perspectives. Bryce, he talked about how, you have to, first and foremost, mental illness is not something that could be immediately measured. And it's, so how do you determine it? And a lot of the core theme of what he was talking about is that they should be allowed to do that, but but offer better resources for the players so that they feel comfortable going to those resources outside of the team. So really, taking care of the player, making sure that you're really, keeping him in mind with whatever solution you give the player. Gerald very candidly talked about how he had his own self-doubts and how he, talked about how that was his own kind of mental illness, questioning his ability to do, to do what he loved to do. And he also talked about the legality of the issue as well, which is super, really important. Todd, man, some really great points Todd brought up. One of my favorite points he brought up was the differences between how it's viewed now and how it was viewed in the 80s. In the 80s, it was hush-hush and taboo. Now it's celebrated, and I think that's, it's something to kind of think about, ultimately, Todd talked about, they should do it in a way that it doesn't taint their career. So we have to look at the long-term ramifications of how it affects the player and how it affects the career and financially as well, financially, and it's something that we have to kind of take into account. So really my vote goes to Todd. and it really just became a matter of who gave the most different arguments pertain to this topic. But again, a really difficult topic. Yeah, I mean, I just listening to it, I myself was torn. Listening to so many amazing ideas that these guys were bringing up. Guys, make sure that you are voting now. And again, after the tribute videos that are played, we will be deciding who's advancing to round 3. That said, I'm going to kick it off to Mr. Jamie Sparling.
Wow. Thanks, Howard. This was an amazing topic. This was a conversation that needed to be had, and I really appreciate everybody's different perspectives. And Greenies, keep voting, all right? We're tallying right now. And first of all, the way you brought up, Todd, that it was a different stigma in the 80s really resonated with me 100%. I have a family with mental illness, and things are a lot nicer now, where back in the day it's kind of thought of as like the crazy lady down the street and whatnot. And it's really good that we're having these type of conversations nowadays. Also, I like the fact that Todd brought up management and money and, the other side of all these things. I think all three gentlemen essentially agreed for mental illness or mental wellness, actually, that we should look at some of these things, but at the same time, management, money, lots of different things, Gerald Brisco, sir, the legal aspect. You brought up the first person to bring up the legal aspect. Now we're getting into where it has to be black and white, and that's the part where that's going to be really, really hard to do. And I just appreciate the fact that you were the first person to bring it up. And that also, sir, when you talked about courage, but also to have the self-confidence to do what you do. I grew up watching you, and that meant a lot to hear, because there was no part of you at any point that you never seemed like you weren't 100% with a tremendous amount of self-confidence at the same time. Bryce, you brought up the fact that there's a broad spectrum of things. You have skin in the game. So people, that wasn't easy for you to say that. And you also said within a simple answer. And we can't have a simple answer to such a complex question. When you talked about a broad spectrum of different things, I kept thinking of we have many more people with Asperger's and different things. There are different spectrum disorders where people can look and kind of see, well, if I'm looking for this particular trait, I might not have it as much as an acute or a chronic stage or whatever. And then, Bryce, you brought it back around. You raised your finger, went back in, and put a bow on it. So I have to give my vote to Bryse Wilson. And now I'd like to kick it on over to host of TKN's Paper Knife, Miss Giselle.
Thank you, Jamie. And I'm excited to be sharing a block of shows with you tomorrow when you debut in the dojo, and with Howard as well, with the Howard Show. We will all be on the Sunday Source tomorrow. If you haven't already, get your votes in for this second topic now, because after this topic, after we are live, after we pull up all of your votes, we are going to see some lovely tribute videos, and then we have much more show to come, so stay tuned. And again, stay tuned until the end, because that is when we get a glimpse of next week's match. But right now, get your votes in. You see us pulling them up on screen. They are being tallied in the back. At the end of the tribute videos, we will let you know who has advanced to round number 3 and who has been eliminated. And it is very very close for second place. There is currently a front runner, and second place is real close. Is it possible we're going to need someone to break a tie tonight by the end of all of this? Could be. It's that close. All right. Bryse Wilson, starting off strong and currently being in the field. He's got a very close eye on what is happening now and what he sees with himself, with his brother in many of the different sports. We were concentrating on the NFL for this particular question, but it is a question that can apply to any athletics. If we take a look at what Simone Biles did in the Tokyo Olympics when she got the twisties, she said, I can't do this. I will injure myself physically if I don't take care of my mental health as well. I am sitting out. And that was a very brave and wise decision on her part, and she was able to come back and compete again. So being a contemporary current player, seeing these effects in all of the different sports really brings a fantastic perspective to this topic. And Mr. Brisco, as so many have said, began the discussion about the legality of it, says there's no right answer to this. And he's probably right, because people react in so many different ways. Are you the type of person who can dive into your work and that makes you feel better because you have something that you're getting up for and living for and love, and that in itself makes you feel good, especially because in an athletic sport like exercise, that will get your endorphins going, your adrenaline going, and exercise does make you feel better mentally and physically. And I loved his line about investing. If I'm investing in something, in someone, I want the best out of them. So if that means they need to sit out for a game and take care of themselves and come back the next game, that sounds fine. And Mr. Bridges saying that it is one of the most destructive things of all time, and that, yes, they should be benched with caution, and making that choice shouldn't be used against them. So all three had wonderful insight into this topic, but my vote is going to Gerald Brisco on this one, particularly for that line about investing in someone, because we're investing in them, but they also need to invest in their health so they can give us the value that we have, that we have said, you are worth this. Here is your value. It is so close right now for second place. If you haven't already voted, get those votes in right now. We are pulling up the tribute videos for all three of these wonderful competitors. And after we see those tribute videos, the results of tonight's match will be announced. Who is advancing to round number 3 this evening, and who will we bid adieu to this very night? We will find out shortly, as soon as these tribute videos are complete.
Great votes here. Hey, listen, here's what I want to do real quick, if you guys don't mind. This is about 60 seconds. Todd, I have a video for you that I promised you earlier I'm going to play, and one for Gerald, and one for Bryse, about 60 seconds each. But before I play Todd's and put Gerald and Bryse backstage for 1 minute only, anything you guys want to say to Todd?
Todd, I really respect what you're doing there. Like I said, I heard you were out CAC, and that's a tough crowd that you were out there for you guys. That's a Cauliflower Alley Club. It was founded by Mike Mazurki back in the 1950s. Mike Mazurki, a great actor, also a great professional wrestler. Him and Luthez got together. Actually, how it was founded is Mike had a restaurant in L.A. and it wasn't doing really good business, but wrestling was really, really popular back at the time. So he came up with an idea to get customers in his restaurant by getting all of his friends and professional wrestlers to come to the restaurant. Business club continued. That's how the club actually got started there. But the guys that I talked to that met you, they said you're a class person. I can't wait to shake your hand. And Bryse, needless to say, I respect the hell out of what you do, and I'm a big fan of yours now in the Milwaukee Brewers. Keep on trucking, baby.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it was yeah, Todd, it was awesome to, I guess meet you kind of over, this call and whatnot. And my spring training's out in that Phoenix area.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to come to it.
Yeah, so we'll have to meet up and formally meet each other at some point. But
Definitely.
It was a pleasure,
Yeah.
just the intellect that you bring to your answers, and it was awesome to meet you. And
Bryce,
Gerald,
you better hope the Eagles are coming out off a win if you meet Todd. not a loss, not a loss.
Yeah, we go out to spring training pretty much the weekend of the Super Bowl every year. So the Eagles are in the Super Bowl.
Philly will be there. The Eagles are going to be there. There you go.
I think so. We look like it. We're looking all right.
Absolutely.
We got some tough teams in the Lions. Lions ain't no pushover right now. Lions look great. And,
that Cinderella story they had last year was incredible. I loved it.
I'm not worried about the Steelers and nobody, I don't care nothing about them Cowboys. Cowboys. Cowboys are just always every year they go into the Super Bowl. Drives me crazy. Our fans are nuts.
Hey, you're talking about the Lions. Who's the only team that beat the Lions? My Buccaneers. But
Buccaneers
they
did.
took a severe hit last. They took a severe hit last night, losing their two wide receivers. Godwin's out for the season, of course, and then they don't know when Evans will be back.
That's going to be tough, yeah.
2 months for the other one I heard too. So there you go. That's a nasty hit. Guys, I'm going to play something for Todd, and then Gerald and Bryce hang out for one more minute, guys. I'm going to play something for you as well. You guys deserve to see it as well. Guys, Gerald Brisco and Bryce will be with us in one moment. Todd, for our audience as well, we're going to let them know Way of the World, our own talk show. In addition to the celebrity tournament, we got 70 plus talk shows. You and I do our thing, and I love not only collaborating with you, man, I love seeing your heart. Again, I love your passion. I understand you, and I always want to continue understanding you and your message and your mission, my friend. I hope that you enjoy this. I put it together personally because, again, sometimes a picture's worth 1,000 words and a video is worth 1,000,000. You mean a lot to a lot of people, my friend.
Thank you, man. That was, and I can't. Yeah, it was shot to John Amos. I told you I did a what was it? It was a movie of the week with John Amos. But I also knew John Amos because when he was doing Good Times, we were doing Strokes over there. So, but to actually, then I was in Roots with John Amos, which is to losing the people that I like we lost Carl Weathers. Carl, our first commercial in television was with Carl Weathers. And it was a United Airlines commercial. They don't even have the airlines anymore.
I didn't know Carl. I heard he was a great guy, but as you know, I
great
wrote
guy.
John Amos.
Great guy.
He was on the show obviously a lot, but I got to meet him as a writer first and a friend second. And what a gentleman he was. Haley's Comet. We took Haley's Comet to Disney. John was on here the 4 days before he passed away. We didn't know. I told John, "Is your health getting better?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Just so you know, this tournament, requires people to be here for the long haul." And he goes, "So will I." And he had that spirit of a fighter right to the very end. What a great guy, John Amos, as you know, my friend.
When God calls you, that's it. There's no turning back.
And who am I to say this, but I'm going to say it as your friend. I already know you know this, and people close to you know this, but man, your mom is so proud of you, my friend. It really is. You're salt of the earth.
My mom is, I love my mom. I said she saved my life. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without her. And it's a wonderful thing to know that I miss her. Of course, I miss her a lot. But she's in a better place. And that's something that people wrestle with for so long. That's when I was talking about your head. My head wanted her to stay, but my heart knew what the right thing was. Eventually, my heart won over my head and said, no, she needs to go and be happy. And I know she's up there happy. And I'm happy that she's happy. And I just don't want to. I'm glad that she's not in pain anymore. That's what I'm glad.
Amen.
No, my mom's a very independent woman, and have that taken away from her was not a good thing.
Well, my friend, again, thank you for sharing us a bit about your mom and
Definitely.
her journey. And I'm going to see you very soon. And my friend, again, love you so much. Continue inspiring people the way you do, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you so much. God bless you guys. See you later. Avi, thank you for the introduction. Talk to you soon, Avi. All right.
You got it. Guys and gals, from one winner to another, Mr. Gerald Brisco, winner, Hall of Famer, of course. The ultimate winner is the Hall of Famer. Guys, Gerald Brisco, again, I don't know. I know we're both, I wasn't raised, my dad's a boxer, big, tough guy. He didn't raise us to have outward emotion. But as I get older in life and he's changed, I've changed because I've seen him change. And I want to tell you this again. We've proven, Gerald, that through this virtual arena, even though we've never shook hands, that friendship can exist in a place like this. But that being said, I can't wait to shake your hand. That's the ultimate honor I can pay you.
Well, I appreciate it, Avi. The same feeling, Jared. When you meet somebody in person, you press that flesh, as they say. You can tell right away whether he's friend or foe. And just being 1,000 miles away or 600 miles, whatever it is, I can tell you're a friend without pressing your flesh.
That means a lot to me, man. And so are you. And that's why I put this together for you. I hope you enjoy this as well. And you are, my friend.
Guys, thank you very much. If I'd known I was going to be around that much greatness, Avi, I don't think I would have believed myself there. But thank you so much for bringing those memories back, and I appreciate it so much from the bottom of my heart. You made it flutter there. Thank you, Avi.
Absolutely. You deserve every bit of it. And even though you didn't ask, I am going to tell our viewers because they should know. I try to tell them repeatedly, about maybe twice during a broadcast. Guys, Stories with Brisco and Bradshaw is amazing because, again, they really epitomize what a living room style conversation is. They talk to people from all walks of life, athletes, pro wrestlers, of course, people that are from behind the scenes. It doesn't matter who they are, but Gerald and John are able to resonate with them because they speak on a level that most of us don't understand as an athlete, as an entertainer, as someone accomplished, but also as a human being that knows their plight. So from that perspective, they do it like nobody else does. They have a great old time. It's very digestible, very intelligent. I love that show, Gerald.
Thank you so much. We put a lot of effort into it, as you see, and we pride ourselves. We had a guy on it recently, nitty gritty dirt bad. I mean, John and I are both huge fans, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. When I interview or talk to somebody, I don't hate to call it an interview because we have conversation.
Right.
When we have a conversation, I get nervous, and I don't want to sound like a dumb okie, you know. No. And I appreciate the people after the comments. You know, that I really enjoyed that. Whether it's through their agent or whatever, when they send a message back, we really enjoy. The guys are prep. They know what to do. I pride myself in research, and without the research, you got nothing. So
you're right about that, my friend. Well, we got something because we got to experience again a bit of your heart, your mind, my friend. Guys and gals, please again, Gerald Brisco, what his family, and many others in Tampa, what they're going through. If there's anything we can do to help out, we're going to do that because we're a team here. And Gerald, thank you, my friend, for being the captain of this very team. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great evening, good friend.
You too.
The great Gerald Brisco, guys and gals, Hall of Fame talent, Hall of Fame human being as well. God Almighty, he really. And guys, the thing about Gerald is, you know, I like what he said. You get to know within 2 minutes if a person's real or not. And I've been able to do that here through the screen and on the phone with him because he's compassionate and thoughtful. He cares about what you have to say, and really a great mentor for the youth. A great mentor. He gives it back to the kids. So please, drop him a line. Drop him a line if you can, and watch that incredible podcast, because I'm telling you, you're gonna feel like 10 minutes somehow turned into 60 when you look at the clock, but you won't believe it. It feels that fast. It goes by so fast. And speaking of fast, one of the greatest fastballs, guys, Mr. Bryse Wilson. What a pitcher. Bryce, I got to tell you, man, I haven't watched baseball in years, but when I watched some of your clips, the first thing I noticed was your form. Am I right to say, and you might be humble, it's picture perfect? I mean, you got a great form.
I wouldn't say it's picture perfect. I'd say it's pretty conventional. I think it's about, as you know, if I teach, that's what I'm going to teach. It's straight up, straight down the mound. That's the wonderful thing about the sport that I play, though, is you can deliver the ball to the plate in any way you need to, but you know, whatever works, and that's what works for me.
Yeah, man. I gotta ask you a question, man. You're again just salt of the earth, becoming a fast friend. Did you have a nice time, my friend?
Oh, I loved it. It is awesome. It's always great to do this, just because, you know, what we're able to convey through this show, and then also, you know, what I take from it every time. I always learn something. Two great, wise people, Todd and Gerald there, and you know, just what I'm able to learn from them and take is amazing.
I agree. I've got the best seat in the house. I'm learning from all you guys. So, guys and gals and pals, again, this is Bryse Wilson. My friend, can't wait to get to know you a bit more. And again, man, keep doing what you're doing, because I know you're going to attain every goal, because it's one thing to have the physical gifts that a person can have like you, but you got it up here too. And that's my opinion, man. So.
Yes. Thank you so much, Avi, for having me. And the video is awesome. Just so much friends and family in there. And that's what I live for. So thank you so much for this opportunity. And it was a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine, my friend.
Wow. What a panel. Let's definitely applaud that amazing panel, man. Jamie, Giselle, your thoughts on what we just saw, what we just witnessed?
There was so much emotion, so much stuff going on that I'm still processing it. And, you know, like, I don't blame them for leaving, okay? Like, not for nothing or signing off, because that was too much, you know, the conversations that were going on. What do you think? But
in the best possible way.
Oh, totally, yes.
Because I would love to sit here and have that entire 3-hour conversation on that last topic about mental health in the NFL and then expand it to sports. There are so many more places we can go with that, and so much more to delve into with that particular topic alone. And that was only one sport. Imagine how much further we could go if we were speaking of all of the different athletics out there and what they all have to face.
Yeah.
It could almost be a tournament in and of itself.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, you know, what happened if we look at different industries?
Howard, do we see this, Jamie?
Yeah, I see it. I see it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, moment of truth.
Is here. The results.
Who's coming?
Ooh, can't wait. Avi's so excited.
I want to know who's coming with me.
Julio. Who is advancing to round 3 and who is eliminated tonight based on your votes? Jamie?
To advance, 2 out of 3.
So one person we're going to have to say goodbye to this evening.
I think this one's going to be quite heart-wrenching.
I agree. 2 will advance. It's been a crazy night. So.
I mean, we just saw 3 individuals open up their hearts, open up their minds to us. How do we, to the best of our ability? Oh wait,
there we go.
Wait,
39 votes. Todd Bridges is the first of 2 tonight to advance to round number 3. Well done, Mr. Bridges. He had that second chance to get back into this tournament, and he took it, and he is running away with it and not letting anything stop him now. Mr. Bridges, congratulations. We will see you in round number 3.
Welcome to round 3, Mr. Bridges. Congrats. Allison says congrats.
Yes, all of the well-deserved congratulations from our viewers and the engine as well. Howard, Jamie, who do you think is joining Mr. Bridges in round number 3 tonight?
I'm going Gerald. He's just always been so strong, And what do you think, Howard?
I was looking at the comment section, and man, there was a slightly by an inch. Well, okay, here's a question. Do we want to find out right now who advanced to round number 3 alongside Todd Bridges? Question mark.
Oh my gosh, toying with us. Of course we do. Come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Edge of my seat. Who is it? It was so close back there. It was going down to the wire. I have no clue who this is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, what I was saying is I think the comment section was leaning a little more towards Bryce, but I mean, you never know. You
really
never know.
Oh, never know around this place. Saturday nights always keep you guessing. Come on, drum roll. Who's going to be at this?
The number
is 15. That's
15.
Okay, all right.
What does that mean?
Who has that number?
I think he wants us. Who received? He wants us to guess. I'm going in. I think Bryce. I think it's Bryce.
Okay, Jamie thinks it's Bryce. Howard?
I'm gonna say Bryce too, man.
Sometimes you got to go with it.
Sometimes you do. I don't know, because remember, our votes were worth 5 points.
Yes, I know. So I don't do math that quick. You know that, Giselle. Come on now. You're the smartest one. What do you think? That's what we're waiting for.
I think I'm going to wait until we see the results.
Mr. Brisco.
WWE Hall of Famer Gerald Brisco has advanced to Bryse Wilson, wait!
Never doubted. I felt weird towards the end, I mean, it was the competition was so thick. And Bryce, what?
Wait.
Did you?
What?
There are no. We break the tie
now. Break the tie now.
Okay.
Oh
my God.
Live. Remember, Marcus Bagwell and Greg Oden have their tiebreaker match coming up soon, but tonight we break the tie as stated because there are no ties in round number 2.
No. The rules.
Oh.
The rules. All right. I'm going to break the tie right now.
Who is breaking this tie, Mr. Klein? How are we deciding this?
I'm not surprised.
I know.
Those guys just went in.
Guys, check. Hey. Greenies, check this out. What I need you to do is you're going to send the the link to the show, and let's get some new votes in. We can
Judges,
Bryse face one another at a later date, or do we break the tie tonight?
Ooh. All right, we already have one match where we're breaking the tie at a later date. Do we find out tonight who joins Todd Bridges in round number 3? Are we breaking that tie now? Or do we see another match between Bryse Wilson and Gerald Brisco to determine who advances to round number 3? Howard, what do you want to see happen?
There's a part of me that wants to see these great guys with such beautiful hearts and such sharp minds go at it again. Okay, let's read this. Do Bryse and Gerald have a one-on-one at a later date, or do we break the tie tonight? Like I said, there's a part of me that wants to see them go at it again, because I think we're the winners at the end of the day, really. But that's what I would like. Jamie, what are you thinking?
I don't know. I think they need to come back. They're really strong competitors. We need to have some more fun. And the Greenies were also, they're leaning that way. DJ Solo, do it now. Yes. We all want to know now, DJ. We all want to know now. I think they should come back. All right. That's just my personal opinion. We could get another great conversation and learn so much more.
I mean, yeah. Giselle, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I've seen DJ and Allison type in break it now, and I'm sure we would all love to see that happen, but I've seen a lot more people saying that we should have that match at a later date, and we're already doing that for one pair. I would love to hear what these two have to say, especially, did you see how respectful Mr. Brisco was toward Mr. Wilson?
Larry, my man.
Every single time he opened his argument with, thank you, Bryse, for this. Bryse, you're in this now. I know how hard this must be. Doesn't care what the profession is, doesn't care about things like age or where people come from. Colleagues, professionals, sitting down, having these conversations, talking with each other. I would love to see what they have to say to each other one-on-one, because that respect is so palpable and was there from the beginning. And this is one of those matches that certainly exudes competitive camaraderie and what we do here at TKN. And I would love to have another living room conversation with these two one-on-one and see what they can extract from each other. Jamie, do you think they can pull the best out of each other?
I think the best, maybe. They seem dead set on bringing the best out of each other. In retrospect, also, Avi Klein in these topics, right? I mean, what will they come back and talk about on top of it? I mean, the mental health conversation we had today, we peeled back some layers and we got deep really fast. But how far could that go? Let alone if Avi was to just go right into his brain, and the man is brilliant. He comes up with these great conversations. My vote is I want to see him back.
Yeah, I mean, to just add to the awesome points you guys. Oh, wait, let's see. Read it, Giselle.
Round number 2 of this tournament ends in the spring. Before that time, WWE Hall of Famer and current MLB star Bryse Wilson, WWE Hall of Famer Gerald Brisco, and current MLB star Bryse Wilson will have a tiebreaker match to determine who moves on to round number 3. It is official.
Nice. It is official. I feel like I was competing tonight. I'm all over here with this,
It's as they say, ask and you shall receive. So we asked and we have received, which is really awesome. And one of the things I wanted to add to what you guys were talking about is, it occurs to me every Saturday night that you always have just these really amazing competitors, but from different generations sometimes, right? And tonight was such a great example of, Gerald being from a certain generation, certain experience, and Bryse being one of our youngest competitors in this tournament. and being able to exchange what they've learned, the differences. And, we think that we're so different because, you're a baby boomer and I'm a Generation X or a millennial, but we're really not, again, right? Because there are things that we've both learned and that we can share. Just, and I think that is really where so much of the interesting topic could really come from, possibly. I don't know. Your thoughts, Giselle?
Yeah, no, it's also great to listen to the experience of those who have come before us and lived these paths and been down these roads, to hear what they have to say, which is one of the fabulous things about this tournament, is that we do have so many people from so many different areas pulling from their experiences, letting us know what they went through, letting other people know that they aren't alone, that it might be a different time period, but some of the struggles are still the same. But then also being able to have these fresh ideas from these lovely younger people who are out there now in the field now. How is it different? How is it the same? What changes have been made? Are they for the better or for the worse? Where can we find that common ground? Jamie, what's been one of the most inspiring things to you about this tournament?
The conversations, and I mean, we bring up competitive camaraderie, and that is something that I almost don't want to bring it up all the time, but how people are making friends, they're learning from each other. Howard, thank you. When you brought up that layer of the generations as well, like, we know people are coming in TKN from all different walks of life and different professions, but that made a lot of sense as to how the whole conversation kind of unfolded today in a different way. We're just also blessed to be a part of this network, and thank you, Avi. Thank you
for bringing us together, for bringing the world together. We can't do this without you, nor do we want to, but having this from your brain, having this idea that we can make the world a better place through conversation. Mark Henry said it so eloquently, and we hear it every week. Maybe one of the world's problems will be solved. And I would love to see that happen. Just people sitting down, talking. It's going to get passionate.
This whole thing feels like a living room on a Saturday night where you're talking with friends. It really does. And that's one of the things that makes it so powerful, yet so damn intriguing. Howard, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I think we've seen many moments where, we show an audience it's okay to disagree, to agree to disagree. We're going to have things that we're very passionate about, and it's all right. It's all right to say, hey, this is how I feel about this, and these are the facts that I support. Well, how do you feel? Oh, so that's how you see it. Okay. And being able to, at the end of the day, still be able to, be with each other and connect with each other and give each other a high five. I've had that respect, and that is really important.
It's also interesting to me when they arrive at the same answer to a question, sort of like we saw tonight, but their reasonings are different. So the path to how they came to their answer, how they came to their conclusion to this question, and having that explained to us is really eye-opening. I like seeing where they're coming from, what made them figure out, yes, this is the answer I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to use on screen. This is what I believe. This is how I feel. And this is what I can say to back it up. And that's going to be completely different than the person next to them, even if they agree on most of the points and most of the topic and have essentially the same short answer to it.
So much to be learned, so much good, fun times to be had here in TKN. All the comments that kept coming through about how much this place means to you as well. We just want you to know we really appreciate that. And what an amazing night it was.
I mean, again, keep in mind, over 400 topics. Avi never repeats the topics. And, I always say there's so much of the catalyst that creates these great moments, these great connections, and these great conversations. I think we live in a time where, it's a bit bonkers out there in the world at the moment. And it's great to be able to just say, hey, could we stop? And could we just talk? And this is what's going on. And what's going on with you. Awesome. Okay. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to be here for you. And have a heart-to-heart, connection like that. I think it's super important. And you see it here every Saturday night.
Every Saturday night. And we're bringing, we have our own talk shows. And Avi Klein has helped us develop those and learn so much about how to present new topics and information to you. Tomorrow night, you're going to get a chance to see In the Dojo with Jamie Sparling, as well as...
We've got Paper Knife with me, Giselle. It's going to be a wonderfully fun episode where we get to talk about the nuance of storytelling and arcs in stories.
Beautiful. There are some of my students there at Affinity Martial Arts. These people all mean a great deal to me. We're like a family in the same way, because you have the same way that these competitors are being vulnerable. When you're doing martial arts, you're going to give somebody your arm and hope they're not having a bad day, or that they have balance that day. And thank you for bringing that up. That was just amazing. Those people mean so much.
Yeah, guys, Jamie, we're gonna have to do a crossover episode one of these days.
No,
because I think we have a lot to discuss with the similarities and differences between martial arts and stage combat, and how they feed and inform each of those disciplines. Because there's a lot we can learn from each other in that regard. Many of my colleagues have also taken martial arts classes to get to know the martial side, so that we can create choreography with more verisimilitude than simple moves. And that is a lot of what we are talking about on Paper Knife, how that relates to the story overall and broadly. But I definitely have things I need to learn from you, Mr. Sparling.
And you, Giselle. And then there's Howard with the shades. Howard, tell us about your show.
Yeah. So the Howard Show, essentially we look at, not only do we look at bands, one of the, things that Avi had suggested, which I thought was brilliant, is that let's just talk to, regular everyday people and see how music affects them. How do they use music in their everyday life? Do they use it to cook? Do they use it just to exercise? Do they use it to brainstorm ideas? So not just looking at musicians, other shows do that. And I do that, but, looking at it from the perspective of, again, how does music just affect your normal everyday life? How does it affect your mood? But we also do look at bands, up and coming bands, trying to give a platform, right, to up and coming bands, because there's so much talent. There's so much talent in this country, but specifically.
So for some of you who know me, I love my coffee. All right. Not only do I love my coffee, I also love good conversation. But sometimes I could talk to myself or with myself. Not always. But I love having good conversations with friends. And today I have a really good friend, and that friend is
Chris. How's it going?
Oh,
nice
yeah.
to meet y'all.
So welcome to Walking and Talking Sobriety with Howard Ojalo. And Chris. All right. Dímelo. This is Howard Ojalo, your favorite Dominican. I'm walking here live with you with a really good friend of mine. You want to introduce yourself, Chris?
Hi, my name is Chris. I'm also Afro-Latino, Dominican. Recovering addict and alcoholic, sober for a year and a half now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, Chris, so what's really awesome, I think one of the things I really hit it off with you early on was that, you're Dominican, you're sober, and you're also an artist, right?
Yes.
So for me, early on, that was challenging to be able to play in an environment that for me, I drank and drugged a lot. So for you, how did you navigate that, or how do you navigate that?
It was hard to adjust to at first, you know.
Okay.
Like I was like a classic rock musician myself, just always 2 beers away from being, you know, blacked out on stage.
Yes, I know that well.
Had to have Coke and alcohol before every set.
Yeah.
In my head, I thought that's what I needed to like get through the set.
Yeah.
And I thought, and because of that liquid courage, you know, like I thought I was doing a good job, but the whole time I was making an ass out of myself, making an ass out of my band, and you know, it's let me get kicked out of a lot of groups.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So when I first got sober, it was hard to get back into art. Like I had such a dry writer's block.
Yeah.
And I just like the first like 6 months of sobriety, like I just focused on the program. I went every single day.
Yeah.
Because I was so desperate.
Sure.
For change, and nothing else worked in my life to like help me stay sober. And you know, if anyone else out there is like me, like I go crazy when I don't make art.
Yeah.
Like I need to for my mental health.
Yes.
So like this first 6 months of sobriety was hell.
God.
And around that, I would definitely say like through doing gratitudes list and like journaling.
Yeah.
In early sobriety, that kind of like it helped me get back into writing. Like one day around the 6 month period, like I had a song idea.
Nice.
I had some lyrics in my head, and I just like was writing down manically, and
nice.
And it was funny because that first song that I wrote was about, in the chorus it's I just want this to be fun again. Fake it till you make it. Like the whole song is just kind of like about how dry I felt without substances in my life.
Yeah, sure.
So it's just kind of like ironic that like, you know, that inspired me to write a song.
Yeah,
you know?
well, what was it? The first lyrics were how dry, and what was the other thing?
I just want this to be fun again, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like that's so much of like the early journey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, feeling kind of dry, feeling like when are you going to have fun again? You know, is this going to be fun? And maybe the fear of not it being fun, or where are you gonna get your kicks again, so to speak.
And like the biggest piece of advice that I'd always get in early sobriety was that like you just focus on this. Sobriety always comes first, and everything else will follow through with it. And you know, I eventually saw that myself, and now a year and a half later in, you know, not only is my like music career is in a better place, like my jobs are in a better place. I feel 10 times more creative, although my output isn't at the same frequency. Like, you know, my buddies and I would like spend a night doing coke, and like we make like 40 songs. Granted, like, you know, half of them will be really bad.
See, but that's interesting. So now, is it safe to say, obviously the frequency of what you're like, the output is not as much, but there's more depth, maybe more substance, more thought behind it?
Yeah, it's a lot more quality, and like I've become comfortable in myself to curate like my art in a more of a quality sense, that like I don't need to make 1,000 songs a day. Like I can make one good one and work on that one song or that one idea for weeks, maybe months. And it's funny because that's like kind of like the old practices of like, you know, back in the days before digital music. It was like, you know, that there are so many people involved on this one song. And I have this theory that like, I guess it's not even really a theory, but I have this idea that, you know, all the songs that you call classics, like Prince, Michael Jackson, James Brown, like these are all songs that were crafted by multiple people and spent days, weeks, months on this one song.
110% correct.
Music's not like that nowadays.
Well, that's okay. So this is interesting, right? Because I feel like even back in those days, they would work on one song, but my question is, were they also, you know, using substances to stay up to work on that song?
I think most definitely.
As opposed to using substances to stay up, and you're just cranking them out.
Because I think
That's kind of interesting to think about it.
And the way that I interpret what you're saying right there is like, with the substances, without the substances, it is somewhat about the fun or whatever emotion you're trying to convey.
Sure.
That moment in time of like the art that you're trying to craft. So
Yeah.
like, in a sense, having no substances involved in my art craft, made no difference outside of my own personal mental health outside of my art craft. Like I feel a better person. I feel clean. You know, because sobriety has opened up this relationship with God. And opened up a better relationship with myself and a better relationship to other people. And a better relationship to, everything around me, all my surroundings,
Is it easier now, since you're clean, to kind of look at those, like, I guess what I call like the harsh truths of yourselves, right? Like the little termites that kind of run in the head. Maybe because also you've done some step work, right? We've looked at some harsh truths about ourselves. So do you feel like doing the step work has helped? Or just being clean and having a connection to a higher power has helped more to look at those truths about ourselves and putting in the music?
I don't like to think of it as easier.
Okay.
More manageable.
Manageable, okay.
Very manageable.
That's a
and
great
like
distinction.
that's when I start to see how the steps intertwine in like every aspect of my life.
It's gonna be amazing, Howard. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you, Avi, for playing that. Yeah, I mean that's my that's my life. That's my my heart. It's what allows me to do what I'm able to do with you guys, to be present. I don't always do it perfectly. I don't think.
But he does.
I don't think. I'd be able to just So I'm a little choked up watching some of that.
You're not the only one. Look at the comments here. That's recovery. AJ Solo says,
give Avi his roses. It's his concept, and he gives me this platform to be able to speak my heart, and that's what I'm really grateful for. Not
you're using it for the right thing. You're using it for the right thing, Howard. Both you guys could have your roses, and Avi gives us all so much, and we're very thankful for him as well.
But yeah, just your thoughts on anything you saw, questions. I'm curious what you guys thought.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool way to get the experiences out there and see where the similarities are with you, especially since you have such a similar background, both being artists, musicians, culturally, and being in New York. So seeing what was similar for your experiences, what was different, where you diverge, what's most difficult for one versus the other, what's easier, or as Chris said, more manageable for one versus the other. Seeing those effects, I can't wait to hear the rest of this conversation with you. And, like, how much more comfortable can it be? It's like, we're two guys, we're two friends, getting coffee, talking, walking the streets while we're getting to our next spot. So that's a really brilliant way to make people feel comfortable and like we are in the same space at the same time.
Well, as you said, talking about getting to the next spot, ladies and gentlemen, that next spot is going to be crucial because we are going to find out who we have up next Saturday night in this amazing outro, guys and gals, damas y caballeros.
Yeah, what he said. Let's go. Going in.
This is our first glimpse at who is going to be competing next week.
Next week, who's with us, Greenies? Y'all are with us. Come on, let's see who's going to do it with us here.
And we find out the top 10.
Obsession's gonna be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed? Is it all you ever think about?
Where I am.
Only to find out the more I was getting like the Twilight Zone, the more emptier I felt.
Yo, it's the rapper. This is the guy. Let's check out. Let's get up close to the booth.
That I had success in professional wrestling, but my heart is with the kids. Whenever they bring up Demolition, they never bring up anybody except Axe and Smash and Fuji.
As a kid, my mom used to make popcorn. We'd sit on the couch and we'd watch that, and I'd close my eyes when the Wicked Witch was out there.
I didn't enjoy the WCW, the wrestling part of it, but the guys, of course, it's the greatest thing. You go in the locker room and see your best friends every day.
I was just always that type of person to try to help others and help my family and always go back to my roots.
Wrestling, do you?
Yeah, you know, I'm super grateful and humbled at the same time of my 413-day reign of being the NXT Women's Champion.
So we went from Good Times and all this other stuff to Murphy Brown. We went to all these things that started representing everyone.
Negotiate with the manager. Are you the manager? Yeah. Here now.
It helped me accept a culture, a younger culture that I just was alienated from.
My shoulder pads with a cane and said, "How would you like to be in a play?" And I said, "I always wanted to do that." And she said, "I know." And I said, "How would you know?" And she said, "Because I'm the greatest acting teacher in the world." And she was, Constance Welch.
It was a message of reminding women who they were.
There's a lot of hugs, sometimes tears, a lot of laughter.
A lot of laughs.
It's just a love fest.
Baseball, and I was there for basketball, so Thurgood Marshall had his hands full. He said, "All these brothers are coming in here right now."
We didn't have money and food, but we sure did have a love for God. We had a special relationship with God.
Their truth is the truth that we imbue in them, to be kind, to be civil, to be respectful of one another.
Quite the opposite effect. And I think, again, that comes back to my parents, because they were so positive and supportive, saying, "Well, you're different, you know, you're unique."
So Boston had an advantage structurally that other teams didn't. So I would have to beg to differ when you said that they did not have an advantage.
And that's what my goals are, you know, just to make my life better for myself and my family.
I would have her with me because most things that have involved her in my life have turned out pretty damn good.
So I would definitely take my aunt, and her name is Kay Sparling.
I watched Eric Heiden win 5 gold medals in 1980, and I decided I want to go to the Olympics.
And if you go back all the way to Jane and her passing on the day of my race in '88, it's because of that, the reason I wanted to
work as hard as you can, because by working, Avi, you will keep yourself busy and get used to the grief.
And I've done 3 Broadway shows. You work, and I've done Shakespeare. To be known for red glasses, you know, what's that about?
Our military, I've done it for over 40 years. It's been my honor to carry the flag of the United States around the world for 40 years.
WF, which was the golden age of wrestling.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan, Jake the Snake
Of
Roberts,
course.
Macho Man, Andre the Giant. Yeah, you would work all the time.
Damn, they poor, but they got voices like they could be out there with record deals, but you know everybody don't make it, so it was just so inspiring.
I just wait, but in there, Latifah had me there and in different spots, so it was like we met from there, and that's why you'll see Pac in the Uptown Anthem video.
It's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life in it, you gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you.
You know what? Maybe one of the world's problems will get solved by listening to this show.
Love, Avi, I'm gonna win this whole thing. Watch.
I know you are, Tom. I know you are.
The barber!
Oh, yes, the man.